Good evening, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Love Story. I am your host, Yandea, and joining me today is a special guest, back again, back by popular demand, Morgan O. Smith. Morgan, thank you for joining me again today, this evening. And I know that we're going to have some good conversation today. In case you missed part one with Morgan, I would suggest that you check it out. Part one right here on this channel. Just look at the Love Story, um, podcast, or you can just look at the lives. You'll see it. Episodes 23, and this is 24. So check out part one because there's so many gems in there, so much good convo, so much just wonderful energy exchange. So don't miss that. But if you are tuning in, to this part two and you haven't seen part one yet, Morgan, why don't you just introduce yourself for those people, reintroduce yourself?
My name is Morgan O. Smith, and I am co-founder of Kmore Center for Innovative Development. I am the executive director for Bodhi Mental Care and Wellness, which is my nonprofit organization, which just started probably about 3 months ago. I am the founder of Yinnergy Technologies, Yinnergy Meditation, which is a brainwave entrainment program that people around the world are currently using. I am a philosopher, spiritual teacher, meditation facilitator, youth worker, um, educational assistant, former comedian, former singer-songwriter, former music producer, former TV show host. Uh, yeah, the list goes on. A bunch of things. Uh, father, uncle, great uncle.
Great uncle. Wow. Lovely, lovely. Well, I will post your link tree and everything in the description below so that if anyone wants to contact you or see all of the great things that you've contributed to this world so far, they can always tap into that. Right. So that's going to be down below in the description. So Morgan, let's get right into it, right? Because I know I feel like I was telling you I could talk to you like every love story. I could talk with you, right? There's so many good things to share. In our last episode, I did share a clip on my Instagram, and I also did a little short here on YouTube, just where we're talking about spirituality and the one that is kind of a cultural spirituality, and another one that, or like social, right? And then another one that is authentic. And I got a lot of people really agreed with what, we're talking about. And I feel like from some of the different, comments and people are reaching out to me about not only that clip, but our actual time, speaking last Sunday. I wanted to kind of just talk about that a little bit more, right? And
Okay.
and yeah, and to start it off, like when you say authentic, because you mentioned that word, you mentioned like authentic spirituality. And what was the word? Was it social? Like a
I mean, it's social, sociology,
yes,
cultural,
culture, right? All of that.
yeah,
So how
subcultural.
yes. So how can someone um how can someone differentiate between, like, how can someone know if they're having an authentic spiritual journey, or how can they know if they're being invited, into something that is more cultural or social, or something that is, authentic? What are some ways?
Well, I'll say first that probably all of us have been invited one way or another into the social. Um,
Right.
that is
Yeah.
everyone's introduction into spirituality.
Mhm.
I don't think there's any way around that unless you just happen to be lucky and you stumbled upon it and you're able to start to seek the self. That happened. That could happen. But majority of the
Yeah.
times, we were invited one way or another into a subculture of spirituality, and there are many different forms. If in this case, I'm going to throw religion into this as well. So it could
Yeah.
be religion, it could be a philosophy. Either way, what makes it a culture is it comes with a set of rules. So it could be the lingo. So if you're in a certain spiritual subculture, but you're using the wrong lingo,
Right.
you could be exited out of that culture, or at least chastised, or something
Yes.
could happen to you within that culture because you're not using the right lingo. Right.
Yes.
So that is an example of it being social, because
That's
what we're
good.
talking
That's
about has nothing to do with language. It doesn't have anything to do with the lingo.
right.
But of course, the lingo helps in regards to if I'm having a conversation with someone
Mm-hmm.
and I want them to
Mm-hmm.
understand where I'm coming from, using their
Mm-hmm.
lingo would
Mm-hmm.
make sense.
Yeah.
So people just have to make sure that they know the difference between what's spirituality and what's not. Another one
Mm-hmm.
it could be a practice. One spiritual practice may say that you must meditate every day, 7 days a week, where another spiritual practice says you meditate 20 minutes every other day, but you can eat meat. The other one could say you can't eat meat. In this culture, you can't eat meat. So there's people who believe that if they don't eat meat, if they're have a plant-based diet or a vegan or vegetarian diet, that they're being spiritual. Well, no,
Yeah.
that's culture, right? There could be a direct spiritual experience why you may choose not to do those things. That's true.
Yes.
But you may be following a group of people who have certain uh, ethical and moral standards that you abide by. And I'm not saying that they're bad or good. We
Yeah.
just
We're
have to
just saying
understand
what,
the
yeah,
difference.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yes.
So it could be something like it could be dietary. It could be lingo or the lack of.
Practice. Yeah.
It could be moral. It could be
Yes.
ethical.
Yes.
It could be fashion. It could be a style of clothing. There's some cultures where it
Right.
says when we meet together as a group, you must always wear white. All right.
Yes.
It does make
Yes.
you more spiritual. It's just in that culture, that's the
That's
rule.
yeah.
All
Yeah.
right. And there's
Yeah.
nothing wrong with the rule. If that's the rule and that's what you
Mhm.
want to follow, you want to wear white because
Yeah.
that's what is accepted in that group. That's what's accepted in that group. I just want people
Yeah.
to know the difference.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
And it could be a number of things. It could be sexual activity. One
Yep.
culture may say it has to be sex. There can't be any sex before marriage, whereas another culture says that doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if you have sex before marriage. One
Mm-hmm.
culture may say you must limit your sexual act, even if it's with your significant other, or another culture says you should be able to do whatever you want to do with that significant other as long as you're giving consent or you both are giving
Yes.
consent. And the list goes
Yes.
on of all the different things that could be in that. The problem with that is, well, not anything wrong with the culture itself. The problem with individuals is individuals get caught up that if
Mm.
for example, I'm a vegan, but
Right.
I'm not a vegan for the same reasons other people are vegans. I'm a vegan only because of a direct experience, and I just actually lost the urge to do it. I have
Yeah.
no opinion if a person should eat meat or not. I actually don't have an
Right.
opinion. I don't even care, but I don't,
Yeah.
right? But people automatically assume that because I follow that practice, that I'm offended if someone eats meat around me. I'm not offended if
Yeah.
people eat meat around me. I don't care.
Yeah.
This
Yeah.
is the practice I've chosen, right?
Yes.
But
Yeah.
now what could happen is if there's enough people, if I have enough influence and there's enough people who want to follow whatever my path is, they may choose to do the same because Morgan doesn't do it. And then it
Right.
becomes culture,
Yes. I totally get that. That is such a
right?
great example because you remember before my closer to life experience, also known as NDE. Before my closer to life experience, I had been plant vegan for 9 years and then vegetarian for 3 years. And then I had the incident, and what I saw and what was revealed to me gave me that freedom to, because literally the truth sets you free. So when I saw life for what life was, saw love for what love is, and life for what life is, not was, it always is. But
Mm-hmm.
it was very clear to me that whether I chose to eat or not to eat was not an issue. It was how I was choosing to eat. It was like the posture, I would say, it was the posture of my heart more than my belly or my taste buds. You get what I mean? And so that is something that I think a key thing um in the authentic experience and the cultural one, and like I love what you said, it's not that one is bad. or good or whatever the case is. It's just, but we do have to be able to distinguish between, you know, what am I following because this is just the custom of what people do, you know, like, for example, maybe if you are a devout, let's say Hindu, right? Let's say if you're a devout Hindu, then it may be expected that you would be vegetarian, you know, for the majority, right? Because when you get into all the different teachings and so on, you know, nonviolence and this and that, people have interpreted these things to deal with maybe not killing animals, right? Or whatever the case is. So there are different ways that people can interpret scripture or interpret even words, right? Like kill, murder, violence, hurt, harm. All of these could be interpreted different ways. And depending on how one interprets that, they will create actions, right? that line up with their interpretation. And so when you have an authentic experience, though, I tend to feel like authentic experience, you could please, you know, help with this. When you have an authentic experience, it's personal and it's upon like your own revelation about something, and it is not attached to the influence of things on the outside. That's kind of like when I think of authentic experience, right? Sometimes people are not aware enough to realize now you can have an authentic experience, but if you have ideas already about something, it's very possible to have an authentic experience and then to fill in blanks with your own ideas about a topic from before and not realize that the extra that you're adding in there is not part of your necessarily like authentic experience. And some of the ideas that you're bringing in there have a lot to do with how you perceive what that thing may be. Like, let's say, for example, someone has an experience and they, oh my gosh, I saw this bright light. It was a white light. I felt so much love. It felt so pure. It felt so holy, right? They have that experience. Then because they want to not lose that, or they want to continue in that vibration with their own mind, they seek out, what does it mean to be pure? What does it mean to be holy? And then they start, well, you know what? People who's pure around, who all these people here who claim to be pure and holy, they always wear white, right? Or they only wear cotton, or they only
or they're white people.
Or they're white, oh, or they're white people. Exactly.
Yeah.
So all of these things, right, can be influenced by culture, by tradition, by
Mm-hmm.
movies, by books that have been read, by all these other things.
Also political climate.
Also, oh,
Yeah.
you're hitting it. Yeah.
Economical struggles. All those
Yes.
things would be included
Yes.
in what would influence the way you
Oh,
interpret something.
yeah. And then so it's really possible to have a genuine, authentic experience,
Mm-hmm.
spiritual experience, but then we start helping, you know, helping along the experience, or we don't really know what am I supposed to do with that. Okay, I experienced this big bright light that was pure and everything, and it just accepted me. It just loved me just how I was. It loved me. But somehow we want to now, after the experience, because I feel like it's more fear than I feel like it's more motivated by fear of loss of whatever it is that we experienced, more than it is of love for the experience. And I'm just saying because I feel like in my experience, love tends to really help us to grow, you know, in a thing, right? So if you have a positive experience, um and you're operating in love and not fear of loss of that, then all of your actions after, they're just, the motivation for your actions is it stays in that vibration. You get what I'm saying? It stays in there, as opposed to if you're like, I just had this experience, I don't want to like lose the presence of God again. I don't want to, I'm afraid of not having that again, or I'm afraid if that leaves me, or I'm afraid of whatever. And because of that fear, now we start doing things to to kind of secure ourselves in whatever we feel that is. Okay, so God must, or let's say spirit or whatever the case, must surely want me to be more holy, more this. So then they start doing things that they think will help them to align more with that experience, other than realizing exactly where you were when you had that experience. It was it was good enough for that experience to happen to you, right? And I think that's a big thing that people often miss. It's like, if you're, whatever state you're in, if you have an encounter, I'm not saying that the encounter can't lead you to wanting to to have change in your life. It definitely can. But is that change being fueled because of love, or is it being fueled in you because you now have a fear of losing something or not being able to gain something? And I just think that that's something that I see in a lot of people after they've had awakening experiences, or there's so much fear, although they'll talk about love, but then the actions are being fueled by a fear of something, loss of something, or fear that they won't gain something. You get what I'm trying to say? So I think like that is, I would like to hear obviously like your perspective on encountering, fear after these spiritual experiences, and how can someone, maybe even in your own experience, like have you seen people become fearful and then become extremely religious or you know what I mean, like just even sometimes fanatic, you know what I mean, after having an encounter of some sort, spiritual encounter or awakening?
Well, it depends. The human experience or even the individual experience, it's so complex. So that could be the case for an individual.
Mm-hmm.
But it goes back to what I said. I may have said this last week and the week before, that there's psychological states of development or
True.
stages of development. So it
Yeah.
depends on what psychological stage that you're at.
Right.
So if one has like what you're talking about, it could be because they may be stuck in the first level, which is egocentric.
Mm-hmm.
So if you have fear, that means you still have love.
One.
You
Yeah.
can't fear without love,
Yeah.
right? So if I fear something, it's because I'm trying to protect myself from
Right.
something, right?
Yes.
That still comes out of, I have love for life and I'm trying to live, or I'm
True.
trying not to
Yeah.
get hurt, which I'm still trying to protect this carbon-based body.
Mm-hmm.
So that's coming from love, but it's not coming from the broadest sense of love. It's coming
True.
from a boxed-in self-love,
Self-love.
and
Yeah.
that's the basic level of survival. Everyone's
Mm-hmm.
supposed to have that so that you don't end up hurting yourself or killing yourself.
Yeah.
But if it stops there, if that's only the stage that you're at, you may not be experiencing love at the mid or the highest level of what love can be experienced. So it
Right.
would naturally come from fear because there is a sense of survival there,
Yeah, I
which is
understand.
totally normal.
Yeah.
Everyone has that.
Mm-hmm.
But it's about understanding how big this is. So now if a person has a experience where they see this bright light and they interpret it as an angel or spirit or
Mm-hmm.
God, and it's still in a sense outside of them, that's still
Right.
not the level that I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. That's
So that
perfect.
is,
Yeah.
yeah. So that person can easily get caught up in starting dogma,
Yeah.
um, bringing that back into religious practice or whatever the case is. And there's nothing really wrong with that.
Yeah.
Because again, from my standpoint, everything that's happening in existence is God's doing. God
Yeah.
is doing this because it's trying to have an experience. And for it to have an experience of being opposite of itself, it has to be ignorant. And
Mm-hmm.
that ignorance has to change, will evolve till knowing, until
Yes.
ultimate knowing. So
Yeah.
everything has to start from the beginning. So we're all playing this out, not just humans, but animals, all forms of
Everything.
creatures, microscopic creatures, macro bodies, micro bodies, doesn't matter. Everything in the entire universe is God is experiencing itself to find itself for the fun of it. I'm just using the term the fun of it just to make it easier. It's
Yes.
beyond that,
Yeah.
but just saying it's for the fun of it.
Yeah.
So there's no way that we can actually get that wrong per se.
Yeah.
But we do have the ability to discern. We have the ability to point out what I may be doing that could be unnecessary to the psyche and to the human body.
Yeah.
So whatever a person does, that's God's doing. That's God's way of trying to experience itself for itself, whether it would happen in this lifetime, the next lifetime, 1,000 lifetimes from now. It doesn't matter if the body is evolving or the lack of. Eventually, if it takes 1 trillion years,
It will.
all souls, if you want to use that term, all souls or all Atman will reach to the point where it becomes Brahman.
Yeah.
Because that's just the will of God. If you put time into the equation, because God is even beyond time, yet it includes time, because everything in existence is God. If you're using God as a term,
Yeah.
in the sense that I'm using it, so all of it is what it is. Every sinful act, everything devilish, everything godly, everything joyful, everything loving, everything hateful, all of it is God. It's just because we associate God with religious terms, which must stand for good, where there are people that will disagree. But I'm not talking about the small religious God that people refer to, that because again, that's an
Yeah.
interpretation. And there are many interpretations of God. And I would say that all interpretations of God are authentic, depending on the psychological stage that a person's at. So
Yes.
going back to someone choosing, making these decisions or making an interpretation based on their experience, based on fear, that's a legitimate thing. The good thing about that is it creates new philosophies, it creates new religions, it allows religions to evolve. So all of that is necessary within the religion, because religion can be very dogmatic, and then eventually, as it evolves, a religion can reach to the highest level of psychological development. Hence why some people will say that united churches are more evolved in Christianity than maybe some other Christian religions, because they got to the point where they've learned to accept even things outside of the religion. Anything that seems to fit, that seems to be beneficial to the body or to the soul, they may include it or they may explore it, because just because it's of another culture doesn't mean it doesn't have any benefit. So they will
Yes.
explore those benefits to see how that can play into a united church, whereas a Pentecostal church may not do that. A
Yes.
Seventh-day Adventist may not do that, because, in my opinion, psychologically, as a collective, they are lower on the psychological stage of development, and there's nothing wrong with that. Eventually, they'll move,
Yeah.
they'll evolve. If humanity survives long enough, it will evolve to higher levels. Christianity 2,000 years from now may look more like Hinduism than it does Christianity. Who knows?
Yeah.
Who knows?
But what did it look
Right?
like?
So
What did it look like 2,000 years ago?
2,000 years ago, if the
2,000 years
Christians
ago,
now
it could have
looked at the Christians
looked
2,000 years
more
ago,
like Hinduism.
it wouldn't.
Yeah.
Yeah, it probably wouldn't even. They wouldn't even be able to what's the term I'm looking for? They wouldn't even be able to recognize what it was, because Christianity 2,000 years ago is totally different than
Totally different.
Christianity now. And a lot of things that happened 2,000 years ago, Christians now would probably look at those things as being a lot of it to be immoral, based
Yeah.
on the things that
Yeah.
they were did, like back, like say for example, Christianity 2,000 years ago, when they did baptisms, they actually tried to drown you in the baptism. They bring you close to death in the baptism, so that if they can bring you close to death, almost drown you and bring you up,
Yes.
you have a higher chance of letting go of the ego. Right?
You'd
We
have
don't do that
you'd have
anymore, because we found
you'd
that
have
that's
a near-death
dangerous.
experience.
End up having a near-death
Yeah.
experience, right? And sometimes it probably went wrong
Yep.
where people actually died. So they had to make changes to it. So they don't do the actual
Yeah.
practice anymore. They do something that is a mimic of the practice that used to be done 2,000 years ago. But back 2,000 years ago, they would bring you close to death in their baptisms.
Yeah.
We no longer do that. And there's tons of different things that we don't do that they did back then that we would look at as being savage, barbaric, immoral, unethical to our standards now. All right. So Christianity is a lot different now than it was 2,000 years ago. Who knows what Christianity will look like 2,000 years from now?
Exactly. Exactly. True. 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 We mentioned the word God a lot when we speak, right? God, Most High Spirit, all of this. What is your if someone had to say, when you say God, what do you mean? What is your definition of God? As we're talking, let's kind of make it clear when we say God, or when you say God. When you say God, what do you mean?
Um, when I said, I mean a lot of things. When I say it, I mean absolute. I mean existence. I mean outside of existence. I mean within existence. I mean personal. I mean universal. I mean collective. I mean singularity. I mean multiplicity. Um, I mean everything.
Everything. Yeah.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
never refer is the only thing I don't refer to when I say God, when I most of the times I use it, I don't mean it in the mythical way. I don't mean it as a man in the sky looking
Right.
down, and I don't mean a person
Everything
within.
but a
That's
man.
yeah, I don't
Everything
look at
but
it that way. But that viewpoint is also included in
yes.
regards to the interpretations of God,
Yes. Yes,
right?
for
So no
sure.
interpretations is excluded from this,
Yeah.
right? But it's like, but what is it really? Is it a mythical man in the sky? No, but you may have an interpretation of it being a man in the sky, and
Yeah.
that's fine. That's where the person's at.
Yeah.
Right?
Exactly.
It doesn't have to be a physical man in the sky. It could just be a spirit in the sky, something that's a spirit that's separate from you or a spirit that's within you. Either
Yes.
way, um, those are, I'm not really referring to those
Hmm.
when I'm speaking in those terms. But if I'm saying that it's everything, it includes everything, I'm including
Yeah.
that as an interpretation, not as a reality.
Understood. So when we say, I know before, and we've said before, God is love. Um, if in that statement you made a little while back where you said like everything, God is everything, everything is in God. You include good, evil, everything is in God.
Mhm.
And if we say then that God is love, someone might say, but if God is love, then how can that include evil or such things that may be considered to be not benevolent, right? How do those things fit into love if
Well,
they
the
fit
only thing
into
that
God? Yeah.
oh, sorry to cut you. I think our timing's a little delayed too, so I apologize for that. Um, God, God, God. There was something I was about to say before I jumped in there. What was I going to say? The only thing that exists is God. Nothing exists outside of God.
Facts.
Existence outside of existence is all God.
Yeah.
God cannot die, right? God, there is no second person or thing to God. There's nothing that's opposing God. Nothing. Everything in the entire
Yeah.
universe and outside of the universe
It's,
of existence
yeah.
and outside of existence
Yeah.
is what I'm referring to
Yeah.
as God.
Yeah.
So
Hmm.
God being love, it's not like God loves itself. That's not what we're talking about. God is just, how do I even explain that? I want to say when God is sleeping, when God is imagining or dreaming up existence, because God is dreaming up existence, it loves his own existence,
Right.
right? So that includes different things within that existence. Now, for something to occur, to exist, there has to be within existence. There has to be an opposition of itself. So if there
Right.
is going to be hot, hot doesn't make sense if there's no cold. If you're going
Right.
to talk about life, life doesn't make sense if it can't die.
Yes.
Right. So
Exactly.
there has to be life. There has to be death.
Yeah. Yeah.
There has to be him, her, and everything in between that. There
Yeah.
has to be. Did I say hot and cold? There has to be up and down.
Yeah.
If there's an up, there has to
Yeah.
be a down. If you have no down,
Negative,
up is not
positive.
up. Positive,
Yeah.
negative, negative, positive,
Yeah.
left and right, north,
Hmm.
east, west, south. All those things make sense only because of its opposition. God itself has no opposition, but God can
Right.
imagine opposition. So the reason why you can have evil in this world, because from God's standpoint, if you're looking at from this, because remember, God is everything. So God, even though God is aware of everything that it's doing, it's also unaware of what it's doing. So if you're going with
Exactly.
the awareness of God, God can be aware that everything that's happening in the universe isn't real. If you want to use real in this
Yeah.
sense, unreal in
Yeah.
this sense,
Yeah.
it isn't real. It's just like if you're watching
Mhm.
a movie doesn't make sense if there isn't any opposition within the movie. Something
Right.
has to go
Yeah.
wrong in the movie. It doesn't make sense. If
That's
nothing went
right.
wrong in the movie, it's not a good movie.
Blah.
They just have two people
Right? Yeah.
smiling at each other for 2 hours,
What is that?
right? But that doesn't work, right? So opposition has to happen. Usually, there's good and evil, some form of opposition where
Yeah.
someone doesn't like what you're doing and they have to do something to stop you from doing the thing you're trying to achieve. Whatever the case is.
Yeah.
So movies, comedy, action, dramas, soap operas, doesn't matter what it
Yeah.
is. It's a
Yeah.
combination of something going wrong. It's the same
Yeah.
that it happens in the entire universe. Things must go wrong. So, from our standpoint, if you're not aware of that you are the Most High, who is the only thing that exists, one may see good and evil as a. Don't get me wrong, I don't like evil. Right? When evil
Yeah.
is coming my way, or when I'm being attacked, or whatever, it's the worst thing that could ever happen in my life. Right? But again, I'm talking about the survival of me.
Yes,
right? The
yes.
carbon body that is not what it appears to be, right? So I'm
Yes,
trying to
yes.
survive. So from my standpoint, good and evil is going to make sense. But if a
Mm-hmm.
planet right now, as we've been speaking, how many planets have blown up in other galaxies?
Yeah,
Trillions of
yeah,
planets have blown up. Do you care
yeah,
that they blew up? No, it doesn't even affect you. You're not
yeah,
even thinking about good
yeah.
and evil at this point. You're not
No.
thinking about the natural disasters. You're not thinking about all the creatures and the other humanoid creatures or whoever they are,
Exactly.
aliens, whatever, that
Yeah,
just died
yeah.
in the time that we started speaking. It has no
Hmm.
concern to us. It's
Yeah.
only a concern to you what is in your backyard.
Facts. Yeah.
Right? So imagine you
Hmm.
realizing you are the most high and you are the only thing that exists. Nothing exists outside of you. There's
Yeah.
nothing for you to do. Nothing.
Yeah.
What would you do with that?
I do
Right?
this.
What would
I
you
do exactly this.
I would do
That's it.
exactly this.
Literally.
Right?
That's
Right?
it. Yeah.
So I'm going to create
Yeah.
something that's going to feel pain. Because I have to make it so convincing that everything that I'm creating within it will be convinced that this thing is real. That's why it's doing it, because it wants to have the experience being the opposite of itself. So it does
Yeah.
these things because at the end of the day, it doesn't matter how that quote unquote individual died or got harmed. From its standpoint, it can't die. The character dies.
It can't.
Right? The
Yeah.
character dies. The
Yeah.
character gets hurt. All that stuff. But God itself, who's the actor who's playing those characters, is it can't die, and it knows that. Just like in the
Yeah.
movie, your
Yeah.
character dies off. The actor didn't die. The character in the movie died.
The character did. Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
The actor may
Yeah.
be upset that their character is no longer in the movie or in the series. That may happen. But
Hmm.
the actor
Yeah.
themselves didn't die. The character died. It's kind of the same deal, but it's just on a higher divine level.
Yeah.
So it can't die. So it has the power to create every scenario. It has the power to wipe out universes. It has the power to wipe out countries. It has the power to make tornadoes, hurricanes, um,
Yeah.
you name it, forest fires, you name it. It can do all those things because at the end of the day, it can't die. And you're just a character in the play that it's playing. That sucks. I hope that
Yeah.
my character is a character that survives until 100 years old. But that's me. Me, I'm trying to survive. Right? That's
Oh
the
my,
I don't want to call
yeah.
it selfish, but it's the me that's trying to protect my
Yeah.
physical body that I'm attached to, right? But I understand that this is not what it appears to be. This is a
Yeah.
character that
Yes.
the Most
Yes.
High is playing, one of the many characters that it's playing, because it's trying
Yeah.
to experience every. Because at the end of the day, it doesn't matter what kind of harm you do to it. It, from its standpoint, can't die. It can't kill itself.
I know.
I
It's
believe it could do that too, but it wouldn't. It chooses not to do that because if it kills itself, then there's nothing. There's nothing left. And even at the same time, the Most High is also nothing as well. So it is nothing left. It is all those things too. So when I say
yeah.
absolute, I mean this literally. I really mean absolute. It's the
Yeah,
absolute, the
really.
absolute, the absolute.
Yeah.
Uh,
Fact.
which one has to experience what absolute actually is, because it's not something that one can comprehend within their
Yeah,
minds.
exactly. Exactly. I was talking to a friend of mine I met actually just last night. I met her and she mentioned about my this experience, right? My NDE, and we just got into a little talk, and I was saying to her, like because she said she saw me on a podcast or whatever, and whatever I was talking about, and I said, listen, I can't I can't really ever say everything on any of these podcasts because there's certain things that you just know. One, is it going to be helpful? you know
Yeah, that's
is
you.
it
Yeah.
is it actually going to be helpful? Is it going to even be understood? And is it timely? Is it necessary? And so I feel like this whole, like, the talk that we're having about God, someone might say, okay, well, if God is everything, if God is everything, and if this exists and doesn't exist and all of this and that, then what's the sense, right? Like, why do anything? There's some people who have that mentality, and it's hard for them to grasp exactly what you just said, and you said it
Hmm.
so nicely. That's why I'm highlighting it. You can acknowledge all of what God is, and you can also, within that knowing, acknowledge that, yeah, but I'm still Morgan, and this is my carbon body, and you know I would like to be able to live and keep experiencing this for 100 and however many years. But I'm also aware that I'm also nothing, but I'm also everything all at the same time, you know? And stuff like that is difficult for people to sometimes wrap their head, you know, around the idea of, okay, like I'll give you a good example, right? When I had my experience and I saw everything as light. Like first it was like I saw these people in front of me, and it was so many people. I was like, there is no, I have not met this many people in this lifetime. But it made sense after, because there were a whole bunch of people that were very far back and their lights were seemingly dimmer. And it made sense after the experience when I started talking to so many, like, I don't know how many hundreds of thousands of people now who have heard my story. I can't even keep track. But I've been contacted by so many people, and I've had like really intimate conversations with strangers, people who were strangers, but now we've you know, had all these beautiful interactions. We've literally like made love, you know. And now I'm thinking, oh wow, this makes sense as to who all these people you know, all these people were in this experience, right? But in that place where I was seeing all the light bodies, right? And I would go up to, like, I went up to my husband and my children, and just standing in front of them, I could literally see, first it just looked like they were lights, but when I went up to them, I could see like codes, you know, like little, it wasn't alphabet, you could call it, I just know that there were codes, signs, symbols, you know. It was like little symbols of light that made up each body had different symbols, combination of different symbols. And as I was looking at their body, I could look at the symbols, and I knew that that was the code. That's the code of my husband. I looked, that's the code. So I didn't know them by the way that they walked or the way that they looked. I only knew them by their code. I was literally reading the code, and I knew, and I could feel through the code that that was my husband, right? It's like, so I know each code has its own vibration that it holds, which was the person. And this is how everybody was. Everybody had their own codes, and all of the codes were made of light. And after I stayed, that's the place I stayed the longest. I stayed the longest in that place, moving through between the people, understanding why some of them were close to me, why some of them seemed brighter, why some were not as bright. And then once I got the people thing down and I understood about the codes and all of this and that, then I started understanding that, well, these codes are this first, this light is life. This is what's making this thing, this is the life of this being. It's actually the codes, it's all the light coming together that makes this specific being. And then I understood that that life was love. And so I'm seeing that love is actually the light and the life that's encoding everything. Because once I saw and I understood spirit, like all of these things, but then I saw that this same thing was in the trees, was in the this, everything created is created by these light codes. Like the rock, the evil person, the good person, the everything to ever exist is created by the exact same thing, these light codes. And so I also saw that there was no hierarchy between the light codes. It was all just encoded light. And so I knew that love was everything, light is everything, life is everything, even things we don't think have life. If it exists, it's life that has created it, right? Because it's the same code and it's love. So all of this was so much, you know what I mean? And it didn't feel like I was learning it. It felt like I was just remembering it. It's like something I already knew, but like I was just remembering. And coming back into this realm and being able to explain to people when I say like love is not a feeling. Love is actually the essence of all things, because we've literally been taught that love is a feeling, right? Or even that love is an action. But when we're speaking about God and God being everything, that experience is kind of like, as when we say God is everything, we say God is love. My mind just goes straight back to that, seeing how everything is made through that light, through that love, you know, really the essence of all things. So I can't unknow or forget is better way, right? I can't
Mhm.
unknow and forget that it is like nothing can exist outside of that. Like if it, that is what creates, that is what everything created is made of. That is the essence of everything. It doesn't matter if it shows up on a very high spiritual level or if it shows up in material realm. From the spiritual, things in the spirit to things in the physical are all made of the same thing. I think it's just a matter of how that thing manifests. You know, some people would say in the spiritual realms, it's vibrating at a higher vibration. In the physical realms, it's a slower or a lower, you know, vibration or whatever. It doesn't matter.
Mm.
I just know that everything, and it's not that, you know, we could say, you know, I can't even say I believe. I have to say I know. Like I know that this glass, you, me, everything is love. Have you have you ever had an experience that showed you or demonstrated to you that love was more than an emotion?
Well, in my experience, there's some experiences where it's like that, but in other experiences, I don't even interpret the word love.
I understand.
If you know what I'm saying?
I
Yeah. So I
understand.
would say it like that. So if you ever hear me use the term Satchitananda, which means
Mm,
existence, consciousness, and bliss,
mhm.
I'm putting love in those three categories if
Yes.
I'm using the word love.
Yes.
Um, so it gets to the point where in the moment for me, not even any feeling, or I, because remember he said like love is not a feeling.
Yeah.
I would say it is a feeling. Depends on what type of love we're talking about. So love
Yes.
can be a feeling because we know it's connected to
Yeah. Yeah.
a
Yeah. Yeah.
chemical that releases the feeling
Yes.
what we call love. But of course, what you're speaking of is not that. You're talking
Yeah.
about something that's beyond the senses, right?
Yes.
So
Exactly. Yes.
yeah, you're talking about the things beyond the senses, which again, you are using an interpretation which you interpret as love.
Yes.
And I'm
Yes.
not in any disagreement with that. That's just
Yes.
how you interpret it.
Yes.
So I have to include that into the interpretations of the many interpretations that there is.
Yeah.
One can
Yes.
say that beyond all interpretations, I'm calling that love. A
Yes.
person could say that.
Yes.
Um, and I could say that too. But what I'm saying also is in the moment of the experience, not even the term of that is even there. And I could, of
Yeah.
course, turn around and say, that's the love that I'm talking about.
I understand.
Yeah,
Yeah.
if you understand. But there are other experiences where I am experiencing love of God loving its own creation and not
Hmm.
the thing that I was just speaking about. So there have been experiences where I'm experiencing what creator feels about its own self. And that's a
Yeah.
different feeling than the absolute. So when I had that experience, that wasn't the absolute, but it was the
Hmm.
absolute love in the sense of it loving its own dream, creation, whatever you want to call that, existence. And
Yes.
there's a love for that, and that's a different type of feeling, an incredible feeling, by the way. It's beyond words
Yeah.
when you have that experience, but it's very different than the experience of an absolute of the absolute of the absolute.
You know, as you're saying that, I have a realization. Um, I've I've shared before that when I was in that experience and I was seeing, I saw my husband, children, and all these people, and after some time of being there, like after I'd seen everything I had to see from there, I started being pulled away. You know, it's like I was nothing was actually pulling me, but I was leaving them where they were. I was drawing away. And as I was being drawn away, I could feel years passing. Years. Like it felt in my earthly mind, it felt like 8 years. I was pulled 8 years away
Hmm.
from them. I'm aware that it may not have been 8 years because where I was didn't have time. But I also had the consciousness of what that, would maybe calculate to with my own, Yandea mind, right? So it felt like I was pulled 8 years away into the future after dying. And I could feel as I was being pulled away, I could feel literally how how their love for me was still there, but it shifted. It's like at first they could still feel me. They could literally still feel my essence because I had all this time in the light, right? Being shown all this stuff about the codes and whatever. And I could tell that right after my passing, they would still be able to like discern my codes around them, my light. They could still feel me, my presence, my love around them. But right at the 8-year mark, it's like it was dwindling in a way, is how I'm gonna put it. And then all of a sudden, they couldn't like tangibly feel me anymore around them. What they had was just memory. They just had like all of the memories about me, what mom did and this, that, but they were no longer able to like feel my presence around them. And I remember in that moment saying like, I want to create more love with them because I understood how to make love. I literally understood um how to obviously manufacture is not the word, but how to make more love, make strong love. You know what I mean? Real love. Because like I said, when I got on the other side, that's when I realized, whoa, this thing that we're calling love is not, it's not, it's so wishy-washy. You know what I'm saying? It's so like, I love you. Oh, you did that. I don't love you. Well, that's not, no, 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 wait. I don't know what that is, but that's not, that's not the real deal. At least, what I was shown, right? And so I wanted to come back to do it right because I knew if I could do it right, no time and space could ever separate. You know what I mean? Us from each other. And so in that place and in feeling that, what that connection would be that I would go back and create with my children and husband and whoever, when I felt that, immediately it came back to my knowing in that place that there have been times where I've been dealing with clients, and whether it was doing energy work or sometimes I would get a message from someone who had already transcended, right? Or transitioned. And this feeling that I was feeling while I was on the other side, what I would call like a cord of love, a connection of love, actually a tangible, real thing. That this is the same thing I felt at those times of doing healings or, getting messages. And that's when I realized, because back on earth, when I would be feeling those feelings, I'm like, wow, God loves this person so much. That's what I would say in myself. I say, I would feel literally like it wasn't my love for the person. I felt like it was the creator loving the person through me. And I was getting a chance to feel that love. So I would be feeling the love. The person would also feel the love. They would say, whoa, I feel like energy, or they would feel, we'd all have our ways of describing it. But I would feel that love and then I would hear the message. I would know who the message is coming from, whatever the case is, or whatever energy would pass and the person would get healed or whatever. On earth, all I could say is I could feel the love. And that's even down to like my whole practice called Abama, right? It's the love of the mother, the first love, all of that, right? Mother, father, balance, love, right? It's all about that love. But it's not until I got to the other side that I understood, hey, this whole experience you're having here, where you're seeing these light codes and all of this stuff and seeing love in this way, this is what you've been tapping into, so to speak. You know what I mean? And I would never, until that experience, I never understood how powerful love is. That love literally is life. In my experience, that love literally is life. So when we give like our energy, our time, our awareness, our senses, when we just like are able to be present with the person and just be not thinking about anything else, but just giving of ourselves, because we are love. So when we give of ourselves to that person and they're giving of themselves, that interaction, we're able to almost become more concentrated. You know what I'm saying? Almost, there's really no words for it, right? So I just have to work with what I have. But it's almost like you're making love. You're making real love. It's the thing that I came back with, that always think to myself when someone's talking to me and I realize my mind is thinking, I say, hey, Yandea, stop. And I just bring my whole self back to listen to that person and to give them all of me, you know? So as you were talking about having the experience of feeling the creator's love for someone else or a part of, or I use the creator, but you feeling God's love or that divine love for the creation, you know, it just brought me straight back to that was literally my experience, this divine love over here and all of what love is to, and I still wouldn't it I did experience it as a feeling, but it's not until the other side that I realized this is not only a feeling, this is life. This is the essence of what we are made of. So if a person is able to have that knowledge and that, not just knowledge, but that knowing, that revelation of this is what love is, then when you place your hand on someone because they're ill, if that person is created by these light codes, if you understand and you give of yourself to that person being also an encoded being, uh having a holding a higher vibration, you can make love with that person to recalibrate. You know, I'm still trying to find the right language that will match with that experience translated down to here. But that's kind of how it feels like. So after the NDE, when I would see people, it literally felt like I was just almost recalibrating their own codes. Do you get what I'm saying? Like that's how it felt like. So love, definitely. You can feel love, but the question would be, what are we feeling when we feel, when we just say like, because you mentioned chemicals, there is that chemical release. So what are we
Oxytocin.
at?
Is it
Oxytocin,
oxytocin?
right? So can you describe from your experience, if you could think of the time when you have felt the most love? Obviously you may have lots of them, but just pick one, right? When you have felt the most love, what exactly were you feeling? What was happening in your body? What, you know, how would you describe that experience?
I don't know if I can do it. All I can say is feeling the highest level of empathy, compassion, highest
Mm,
level of empathy for all things. I can walk in anyone's shoes at will, and the
yeah,
highest level of compassion.
yeah,
Anyone who's suffering, everything that is suffering, I could feel it,
yeah.
and I can identify it as myself. But I
Mm,
know that it's cattle, or if it's a human being, if it's a homeless person, if it's a person who's dying in the moment, someone who's being assassinated,
mm-hmm,
uh, someone who's being physically abused, and the list goes on. I can feel what the person is going through. I can feel what everyone and everything is going through, and in return, I have compassion for what I'm feeling for all people and all things, all creatures, all things. But
mm.
I'm experiencing them as myself.
Yes, yes, I understand that. How does somebody align with love? We've talked about it like many different things, the feeling, the essence, the life, the this, the that. And the truth is one thing that I saw in the codes, because like you're not a lie, I'm not a lie, you know, we are. And the fact that we are, you know, that in itself, you know, is it says a lot. So how can someone align to love? How can
I don't
someone
have a
be
recipe.
not in alignment?
I don't have a recipe for that. All I did was I meditated every day. Right. That was my main focus. I already talked about my energy practice, but I just did that every single day.
Yeah.
Sometimes I may change my intention. Sometimes the intention is I want to have the experience of being the ultimate of the ultimate of the ultimate,
Mm,
or the absolute. Other times I want to have love for all things.
mm-hmm.
Sometimes it's I want to have forgiveness for all people.
Yes.
Other times it could be I want to be able to walk in everyone's shoes, regardless what the situation is. It just
Mm,
depends on what my focus is going to be on that meditation. But to have an actual recipe of what can someone do, I don't. There are many practices that do focus on that.
yeah.
I haven't done them personally every day to see if that was the result, if that led to
Right,
the
right.
result that they were claiming.
Yes. Yeah.
But there are many practices like the names are not coming to me, but there's some Buddhist practices where that is the focus,
Mm,
where they're just focusing on this love. Well, and love in the sense of I forgive myself, I forgive my family, I forgive my friends, I forgive my enemies, I forgive. The list goes on, all the different things that people can do that is considered to be evil. And you do this every day until it becomes a part of you. So it's at the point where you're no longer just saying it. You actually can
yeah.
say it and feel it with conviction.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Right. I
Is
never necessarily did those practices like that every day,
yes,
but I
yeah.
always stuck to doing the same type of meditation every single day so that whatever it is was supposed to break loose and release itself, that it would release. Because
Mm-hmm.
my focus is everything.
Everything. How does
Right.
one,
Which one could, of course, can call that love.
yes, how does, so while we may not be able to tell someone, um, do this or do that, how can,
Some teachers may be able to do that.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, they may be able to do that.
How
I
can
wouldn't be
you
qualified to do
personally,
that.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. How does you mentioned forgiveness. That's a big one, right?
Hmm.
How can someone know if they are out of alignment with love? Like, how did you know, okay, I want to have more love or whatever the case is today. I i realize that I want to walk in everybody's shoes, or I want to forgive everybody, or how, what were your, how can somebody know that I am not in alignment with love? What does that look like? And maybe you can't say for everybody, but maybe for you, like, how can somebody know? What are some ways that they could know, like, oh wow, I'm actually out of alignment with love?
Listen to your speech. Listen to your speech. Be aware of your intentions. Every intention that you make, be aware of it. Is it for you? Again, nothing wrong with that, but you want to be clear. You want to be honest with yourself. Is it for you or is it for someone else? And
Mm-hmm.
every move that you make, am I doing this for myself or am I doing this for others?
Mm-hmm.
Some things you are supposed to do for yourself. And there's
Yes.
other things that could be done for others where you're still taking it, you're kind of hoarding it. You're making
Mm-hmm.
it only for yourself when it could be for other people. So in every moment, in every action, every situation, every event, you're always bringing yourself back to the awareness.
Mm-hmm.
And everyone knows if they're aligned or not. That you can't be fooled.
Yeah.
That the fact that you are or you're not. You're not fooled by it. Everybody knows. The question
Mhm.
is, are they willing to be honest with themselves?
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
Because everyone's out of alignment at some point.
Yes.
Right?
Fact.
That's a natural thing for human beings. But the point
Yeah.
is, can you become aware enough to realize when you're in alignment or when you're out of alignment?
Yeah.
And the more that you can become aware, the more you can become more aligned
That's right. That's right.
because it comes with awareness,
Yeah. In
true
the
awareness.
true awareness. Yeah. In the beginning, I had mentioned about people going through their awakening and then kind of maybe because they want, they're attached. Is really the right word. They're attached to the experience and they're afraid to lose it. So because of that fear, they may have certain actions, which, to try to help them stay attached or stay in that, in that experience or the vibe of it or whatever the case may be. So my question would be for you, what did you do after your awakenings? Because we talked about them like from the one in 2008 and then onward, you had
Mm-hmm.
all of these other ones. What do you do? Or like even just say, what do you do? What did you do? Did everything you like do work for you, or did you have to kind of come to a place where you're like, okay, this is this is what I like? Was there some trial and error? What was your experience like, when it came to staying in alignment with the revelation of whatever it was that you experienced?
Most times, I never tried to stay in alignment with anything. The experience was the experience. If I came right back down to my base level, I came back down to my base level.
Yeah.
I just had to learn how to become aware of that, and then you just keep working your way up. There are times where I'm sure I felt attached to some degree, to some degree, where I wanted to see if I was able to maintain a certain experience. Yes, short term, that's natural. That will happen to almost anyone. But at the
Yeah.
end of the day, and I was told this many times, especially from my spiritual teachers, that all spiritual experiences, all spiritual awakenings, all doesn't matter what it is, they're all temporary. And that's why we call them states and not stages.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. You cannot stay in that state.
Yeah.
It's impossible. So now knowing that it's impossible, don't even sweat it. If you can't
Yeah.
stay in that state, you can't stay in that state. All states are temporary.
Yeah.
But
Um,
there's a part of you that are stages where your perspective changes on how you
yeah.
see yourself and how you see the world. Those
Mm-hmm.
can be permanent, and
Mm-hmm.
that has different aspects to that, which
Mm-hmm.
can be permanent. But in terms of states, in terms of spiritual experiences,
Yeah.
don't even try to linger in them. You're not
Yeah.
going to keep them.
Yeah.
The body's not, the brain, the nervous system is not designed to do that.
Yeah.
Right.
Right.
So no one
Right.
needs to sweat it. The greatest human beings on the planet, Ramana Maharshi, I don't care who the individual is, did not stay in those states.
Yeah.
They were in higher stages than other people, sure, right? But they weren't always in a spiritual, mystical state. No, it's
Mm-hmm.
impossible.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I like that because I feel like back to spiritual, authenticity and the whole thing, right? I feel like it's so the cultural or social. I feel like it's so important for people to have conversations that are just like real about about spirituality because I think there are a lot of people who um they have an experience and it's wonderful. And again, because of culture or whatever, they do and may feel a pressure to um, hold that experience, right? And to, okay, now I've had this experience. People look at me a certain way or think a certain way about me. I must maintain, you know what I mean? Because if I go back down or if I, act the way I acted before, they may doubt my experience.
You'll doubt
And
your
so
experience. Yep.
yeah, if they doubt my experience and whatever, so then now the motivation is fear of loss in some way, right?
Mm.
um, so I think it's so great to have these kind of conversations so that people don't end up condemning themselves or
Or
something.
people don't end up continuing to create
Faking.
fake personas,
Yes.
right? Because most of
Yes.
the personas that you see that when people are pretending to be spiritual, they're personas.
Yeah.
Now, don't get. I'm not saying that they're wrong in doing that. I understand why they're doing it, and they may actually believe that it's a true,
Yeah.
authentic persona. But the very fact that you're an individual that's playing in this body, the very fact that you have that you have personality traits and you have characteristic traits, they're all personas.
Yeah.
Right. So
Yeah.
even the moment that you try to walk and act a certain way, that you're walking a certain path and you're pretending, it's still a persona.
Yeah.
You weren't any more spiritual than you were the day before yesterday, right? But yeah, you learn how to play a persona better. And I'm not against the personas. I'm just calling out for what it actually is.
It is what it is. It is what it
It is what
is.
it is. Personas inspire people,
Yeah.
right?
Fact,
They have their
fact.
purpose, right?
Yeah.
They inspire people. They
Yeah.
move people.
Yeah.
They allow people to push themselves to be better people.
Mhm.
Personas play a huge role,
Yes.
but
Yeah.
I know what it really is from being on the other side. You're
Yeah.
playing a persona. Now the
Yeah.
question is, does that person have the awareness that it's a
Of
persona
that.
that they're playing?
Mm-hmm.
Right? But there are many highly evolved human beings who know that they're playing a persona. Osho
Yeah.
was one of those people. He knew he was playing the
You
persona
know.
the
Yeah.
whole time. He even
Yeah.
said, "I'm a fraud."
Yeah.
You can call me what you want. I am a fraud. This whole thing that I'm doing, this is the biggest fraud that I could ever pull. Right? And
Wow.
people never understood what he was saying, but he was telling you
Yeah.
straight up, it's like, I'm not a spiritual teacher or a spiritual guru. I'm
Yeah.
pretending to be a spiritual guru.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right?
He understood what
He
he was.
understood. He understood what was actually going on, and he laughed at the very fact that he's playing on this persona that you all enjoy.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
But it's all made up.
Yeah.
And there are
You
many
know,
different ways to play these different personas. Right?
fact.
So
Yeah. And I understand. And you know what the thing about it is that at some point these conversations get uncomfortable, right? They get uncomfortable for people because, you
yeah, they
know,
should.
yeah, and well, because people want to, everybody wants to I'm saying everybody very loosely, not everybody.
Yes,
The
I understand.
majority of people, right, want to identify as something and be identified as something because
Sure.
with that identification comes putting them in a place, you know, um, putting them in some level or viewing them in some way. And the majority of people want to be loved, accepted, appreciated,
Hmm.
needed,
Yeah,
right?
we all do.
Yeah, feeling as if they're important and all of that stuff. So when a person goes through, it doesn't take, and I want to also say, it doesn't take having a near-death experience or any of these things necessarily to come to some of these conclusions. You know what I mean?
It sure helps, though.
It sure helps. I will tell you personally, for me, I can't say any other way because this is how I got to where I am, right? So I
Yeah,
can't
it sure helps.
yeah, it's all I know. All I know is spiritual experiences moving me along the path. That's it. And then the NDE really moving, but it didn't stop there. I had to
Hmm.
still figure out if this is what this is all about, then why this? And then it had to I had to realize like there is so much because somebody asked me, they said, I've seen so many people have NDEs, and you're the only one that I've ever heard request to come back. And I was like, really? And then I thought about it. I said, oh wow, and I got this a couple times. People are like, why would you want to come back? And it's because when I got there, as soon as I got there, I was aware of all of my lives before, all the times I've had a different character, right? I was aware of them. I was aware of the fact that I never die. I mean, I was aware that I will continue on. But this moment in time, I really wanted to come to Earth to do a certain thing. And
Hmm.
I understood that when I would come to Earth, I really did think that I would remember. I didn't think I would forget as much as I did. So when I came to Earth, I did a very good job. But when I had that NDE, I realized, damn, I forgot some key things. You know what I mean? I forgot some key
We all
things.
do. Oh
Yeah,
yeah.
I forgot some really key things. Um, it's almost like the best way to put it, when I came to Earth, I said, I am going to love in the deepest red possible. And I know this red like the back of my hand. This red is me. I'm gonna love in the deepest red possible. And I came to Earth and I was loving despite the programming, despite the culture, despite heartbreaks and all this stuff. I'm loving in red, but my red was light pink. You get what I'm saying? It wasn't
Not
purple.
fully red. It wasn't
It wasn't
purple.
purple or green
Light
or
pink.
orange,
Yeah.
or it was a light red. And
Yeah.
when I had the NDE, I saw how red it was supposed to be. So I was like, nah, 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 send me back. I need to go back and do, because I know the importance. And I also know that on the other side is forever. And there's no rush.
There's no
It's,
rush.
it is.
Mm.
So I
You're
really
gonna go
want
back
to
there
come.
anyway.
I really want to just come back here to do what I came to do because that's why I came, right? I came to do something here, and I'm gonna return without doing it. No, I want to still do it. Send me back. I want to go
Hmm.
back. I want to love. And all that mattered was getting a chance to love fully, like to do it, to do the real thing. And that's what propelled me. It wasn't a fear of anything on the other side. I already know what's there. And I'm gonna be there forever. You know what I mean? But this is
And you're there right now.
and I'm there right now. So this
Yeah.
is a moment in time to play this story out. You know what I mean? And the people that we meet right now, like you, Morgan, as Morgan, my husband, my children as who they are, how old they are, how young they are, all their different experiences. We're never gonna get this exact combo again. Do you see what I'm
That's
saying?
true.
This
Yeah.
combo of people with their different perceptions and where they are and everything. And literally, we will never have this is just happening right now, this combination. And I was so aware that this is it. This is it. So I wanted to come back. I wanted to be here. I wanted to be doing, whatever it is. But that's not the end of it. It's like that, yes, there's a great revelation that comes along with that, but now it's like every day is still a waking up. Every day is still integrating some part of that knowing, you know, understanding how it fits in life, understanding. Yeah, it's amazing. So it's good for people to understand that it doesn't matter how grand of a spiritual experience you have. Do not have your mind or heart set on that you will ever have an ultimate experience and that will be the end all be all, because we are always expanding. We're always expanding. We're always moving, like constantly moving and shifting our levels of consciousness, our this, or that. You know what I'm saying? It's a constant growing. Even when you think you're not moving, you're still moving in some way. Maybe, you know what I mean? You're still
We're just not
moving.
aware of it.
You
Yeah.
just, exactly, you know? So, for someone who is, what would you say to someone who is starting to realize that they are um, playing a part and they're starting to feel like, oh man, that fraud feeling, you know what I'm saying? Like
Hmm.
how could you help that person? Because I personally have come across a lot of people who are starting to become aware of it, but then they are, because, how do I even put it? Not everybody's the same, but the majority of them are starting to become aware of it. And they are they're wanting to cloak it because they're saying stuff like they feel like they are what's the word? Um
Do you feel vulnerable, feel exposed?
yeah, or they feel like well, they're maybe they're in industries or doing stuff, especially like in the whole spiritual community. They
Yeah,
feel
you gotta kind of play
almost,
that up.
yeah, they feel like they're fake, you know what I mean? And so now they want to hide the fact. So I'm like, this is something that needs to be kind of discussed, because at the end of the day, your personality is really it's really like the clothes that you're wearing in order to do the thing that you came to do. That's how I look at it, you know?
Yeah. And no one wears the same clothes all the time forever.
For,
You take your clothes, if you put them on, you take them off. You
yeah,
put on new clothes.
yeah,
It's the same thing when it comes to our traits.
yeah.
Um, the thing is, for me, being a human being, just being a human being is the most authentic thing you could ever be. Um,
Mm,
and that could also include of you, a person playing the
yeah,
different roles, putting on the different personas.
yeah.
I just want a person to just be aware of that they're doing that.
What would be the
Like also
benefit?
just
What,
said,
what would be the benefit of being aware of it? Why should someone want to be aware of it?
because you're using it as an exercise. So anything that is happening, you're learning. All you're trying to do is increase your level of awareness. So that
Yes.
can be done with anything that you're doing or anything that's happening around you. So all you want to do is increase your awareness. Hence why meditation is important for most people, is because meditation uh, gradually opens up your level of awareness. But it doesn't have to just be done through meditation. It could just be done through you consciously trying to be aware what's happening in the moment, and that also includes every time you're wearing a mask, you're
Yeah.
putting on a persona. We all put on personas, so let's
Yeah.
get that out of the way. We
That's
all
right.
do it. There's no way around that. But most
Yeah.
people aren't aware that they're putting on personas,
Yeah.
right? So if you're using that as a tool to open up your awareness over time, your awareness will get even broader, so that you're more open to that. If you're lucky to get hit with the big experience,
Yeah.
which of course is going to open up your awareness even more, but at least you leave yourself open so that when you are going to be struck by lightning, the lightning's going to it's going to do some damage, and that
Yeah.
comes with the level of awareness. And if you got hit by lightning, you'll know that you got hit by lightning. You want to
Fact.
be that aware.
Yeah. You want at
You want to
least.
be that aware.
Yeah. Facts. 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 I want to give a shout out to Dwayne and Marianne. I see that they're commenting. Hello, family. Love you guys. Thanks for tuning in. If you have any questions for Morgan or myself, please leave them in the chat. I'll take a look at it. There is always a delay, you know, with YouTube, so I have to
Hmm.
come back and check it out. But I love what you're sharing, and I love having this discussion, because you know the thing about it is, one thing that I experienced, right, Morgan, like when I was coming back um into my body, I could feel the, I will use the word density to be nice, right? I could feel the density around earth, right? Is the way I'd put it.
Mhm.
I could feel the density when I was coming back in, and it was just like it didn't feel clean. When I say clean, that could be interpreted how it wants to be into whoever wants to interpret it. It felt when I say clean, I think of clean as light and easily to move through. You get what I'm saying? Easy to
Okay.
move. Like if you're going for a swim in clean water, right? It's just it has even a refreshing vibe about it. You know what I'm saying? And you're moving through and it could even help to cleanse dirt that's on you if you're moving through clean water. If you're moving through mucky water, then it's heavy. Moving through is hard. You want to go that way, you have to put energy in to go that way. And most times, by the time you get to your destination, you have some stuff on you
Yeah.
that's covering you, or that's, you know what I
Hmm.
mean? And you need to find a way to
Hmm.
get clean again. I experienced that when, for like 2 week period after from coming in and 2 weeks after, it was
Yeah.
this feeling of my spirit I did not even want to stay in my body. I kept, you know what I mean? Like I just didn't want to feel the muckiness, you know what I
Mm.
mean, of hair, and very sensitive to all of the waves, all of the
Yeah.
different things around. Um,
I had experience like that too. Not as the way you're putting it, but
tell me,
I've had
tell
that
me
too.
about that one.
Mine was quite different. Mine is more of for me, it was actual. I perceived everything as filthy,
I
and
said it was really nice.
yeah, like it really like anything that I could smell
Yeah,
to me, I looked at it as being filthy.
yeah,
Anything that touched my body, it was filthy
yes,
to me.
yes,
Everything was filthy. And it comes and goes. It's more of a psychological setback when the psychological part of your mind is trying to readjust itself. Because
yes,
there is a part of you that does acknowledge everything that you perceive as filthy. But
yeah,
in this case, it becomes in the forefront, and everything is filth. If I
yeah,
see dust on the computer, I'm like, ugh.
yes,
If I see a stain on my clothing, I'm like, ugh.
yeah,
If I smell
yeah,
something, ugh. If I
yeah,
put something on my tongue, like eat anything, I'm
yeah.
like, oh my gosh, what did that
What
what did they do to that thing in the factory before it got to me?
exactly?
All
Yeah,
that type of stuff. And then it gradually goes away. And then there's times it comes back.
comes
I
back.
still get it, where
Yeah,
sometimes everything is filthy to me. And
yeah,
then it goes away and it comes back. But even when I think of human bodies, sometimes like I don't even want to mate
yeah,
because I'm looking at the other body and my body is being filthy.
yeah,
Um, and everything, the smell of your skin, that
yeah,
your own personal scent, you may be
yeah,
turned off by your own personal scent or other people's scent,
yeah,
even though there's nothing offensive about their scent. It's
yeah,
just I know it's a human scent,
yeah,
and
yeah.
then it eventually goes away, and then you're not bothered by it anymore. And then if you
Hmm.
have another experience or some kind of something that happens within your meditation, it comes back a bit.
Yeah.
And those are just psychological things that it could lead to madness if you strayed all the way
Facts.
into that extreme. That
Yeah,
can end up becoming a psychological impairment. But
yeah,
in many of these cases, especially through meditation, at least for most people, these are temporary things that happens along the journey.
yeah.
That's probably why in religions, cleanliness is one of the big
Yes.
things in Islam
Yeah.
and stuff like that. It's probably
Hmm.
because when these spiritual advanced human beings had their experiences before they spread their philosophies and religions, that was a part of it. They also felt dirty or felt that they were among dirty things, filthy things. And
Yeah.
that got passed within the philosophy and within the religion. So
Um,
I think that's how that came about.
I think so. I honestly, after I had the experience, I didn't want to share it with anybody, like things about it, and also the experience of coming back into my body. I didn't even want to really talk about it because of how I was aware that I literally had the awareness that people do exactly that. They will listen to what you're saying and then start forming rituals and things around it, almost like mimicking, you know what I mean? To try to, and not whatever it happens, right? But like almost if whatever it is I did, if because when I came back, I said very clearly, it felt disgusting. Like coming, I remember feeling it, it was just nasty. That's just the,
Yeah.
it was nasty coming back in. And
You probably took more showers during the days too, right? During the day. If you did
listen,
2 showers a day, you probably took 3 or 4 showers a day to kind of wash
it
off
it
what you
wasn't it
perceived to
wasn't
be as filthy.
And the
And for
thing
some
is,
people, right?
it wasn't only filthy in that way. It was just the atmosphere, um, the conversation, not what was happening in my home. I could sense the conversation in the world. It sounds crazy, but I could feel just the lies. I could that was a big one. I could see how
Hmm.
everything was twisted. You know, it's almost like if you think of um everything that should be nice and straight and properly connected, everything was just jumbled. It was just extreme, like static. Like nothing was clear. No
Yeah.
part of anything was truthful. Everything was a little bit of a twist here, a little bit of a twist here. Anything that came through that was once pure has all been twisted a little bit here, a little bit there. Even if it's a little bit twisted, I was seeing the little twist as immense because I had just come from a place where everything was just pure. And when you come from there, it's just coming into anything that's even a little bit, it was just like it's either truth or it's not truth. That's how it was. That's what I was experiencing. It's either truth or distortion. It's either that's it. It's just either truth or distortion. I wasn't seeing like well, there's this truth and that truth. And no, it was like, no, there's one truth, and that one truth encompasses like everything, but anything that tries to distort that truth is not the truth. It's a distortion of it. But I was well aware, I don't even know if this is making sense, but I was well aware
It makes
of,
sense.
yeah, I was well aware of like, just like we say, like everything is within God, right? Everything is within God. God is also within everything. That's just kind of like how I understand, that's how I know it. You know what I mean? But
But
yeah, that,
that's a thing. That's a thing too that people have when they come back. Because I studied all the things that could happen to an individual when they come back from these experiences,
yeah.
where your duality is being challenged. The extremes,
Mm,
the oppositions between two things, they're being
yeah.
challenged because now you're kind of drawing to one side, which you may look at as positive and pure, and not accepting the other side. So it comes back to a point where temporarily we're disowning parts of reality. And that's a natural thing. It happens to many individuals when they have near-death
I
experiences
get
or
it. It's
have
like a
a
swing. It's like a swing,
spiritual,
right?
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And you have to try to accept the whole swinging from left to
I
right.
know.
All of it has
Yeah.
to be accepted. But
Yes.
when you come back from these places, for some people, you can't accept, you're accepting one side over the other until
Yeah.
you're able to integrate the whole thing. You're able to
And
make the whole thing holistic.
that's the
Yeah, it's a
two
natural thing that happens
process.
with the brain and the nervous system.
Yeah, that's the and that's why I call it the integration process, right?
Yeah,
Be able to
integration process.
how can you, and this is, remember I was talking about the scripture thing, right? When I thought of that scripture that says, be in this world, but not of it,
Hmm.
that's what helped me too, right? Because like, okay, because my question was like, how am I supposed to be in this world? Like, how am I supposed to be here and actually love what is happening? You know what I mean? And have that patience to allow people to go through their process, even if what they're doing is a lie or is hurtful or is whatever the case is. And all it was just to spend more time in the revelation that I had seen, which is that, but everything is God. Like everything is everything is God and everything is well. You know,
Yeah.
this is just this experience. And in this experience, this is who you are, and this is the role that you're playing, and they have their thing that they're doing, and they have to go through. And that's just how it was. It's just like all you have to do is keep you know what you know, and that's it. You just know what you know, and you keep moving while you respect other people's experience, knowing that it is still most high. You get what I'm saying? Moving, mo- moving through that person, and also through that person's individual experience, they're experiencing shifts in consciousness. Do you know what I mean? And that's just it. You can't, like I said the last time, like we can't rush the process. And in all of that, I still know that I know nothing as I ought. Like, you know what I mean?
The
It's like,
reality is,
yeah,
no, I was just saying the reality is there's really nothing we can do. It's not even in our hands. It's out of our hands. Life is going to happen regardless whether you're in it or if you're out of it.
100%.
There's nothing I can do about this. So all I can do is learn. I don't have to like everything because that's part of spirit too.
And that's
But
okay.
I'm learning
That's
that's okay.
yeah.
I'm just learning how to accept everything as it is
Hmm.
because I can say I can't change it one way or another anyway. I can only change what is within my capability, and everything else is still open to everything else. And also too, everybody is contributing to try to make influences and try to change things.
Yeah.
There's no way I could change all of that.
Yeah.
What I can do, that's within my power, is learn to accept that that's reality. That's the way how Source created it for whatever
Mm.
reason, and I'm just learning how to accept it because my acceptance causes less suffering for me.
Mm. Do you think that do you have a desire to bring any sort of resolve or like stillness to the chaos that you may see around you at times?
I don't even know if I really look at it that way. I just do what I can do.
Hmm.
I don't have a resistance to the chaos that's happening. There's many things I don't like, but I'm
Yeah.
not bothered by it. I don't lose sleep over it. None of that stuff happens. People are going to die regardless if I want them to or not. There's nothing I can do.
Yeah.
I created it that way for a reason.
Yeah.
Because life, if there's life, there has to be death. There's nothing I can do about this.
Yeah.
What I can do is whatever I do desire in the moment, that's what I'll do.
Right. Yeah,
Right?
exactly.
I can't help every homeless person I see on the street. There are times
Yeah.
where I don't give a homeless person change.
Yes.
And sometimes I feel bad about it.
Yeah.
But it's okay for me to feel bad about
Yes.
that.
Yeah.
Right? I'm not going to deny those feelings. Sometimes I feel guilty for not giving someone change. But in
Yeah.
that moment, I just couldn't do it.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
couldn't get to the thing faster. I couldn't get in my pouch. I couldn't whatever.
Yeah.
Sometimes people stop me if I'm in my vehicle and I can't. I'm gonna crash. Like I'm gonna get into an accident if I try. So I just keep going, and it's like I wish I could whatever. But there have also been times where if there's a person right now that a lot of people know in our community that is homeless. He's been homeless for gosh before I even knew you. I'm sure.
Wow.
That's how because I'd known him before he was homeless.
Yeah.
And there are times where I do see him, and I don't have. I sometimes I carry food vouchers. What do you call
Oh,
them? Gift cards with me.
yes.
Grocery store gift cards. I have a bunch of them that I give out to people sometimes if I feel that they're in need of food.
Yes.
And there was one time he asked me for food, and I said to him, I don't have it."
Yeah.
And he says, "Are you sure, man?" And I'm like, "Yo, I don't have it."
Yeah.
And I walked away, and I'm like, I got to where I was going. I'm like, "Oh my gosh, I do have it.
Oh,
I have the vouchers in my. Oh man." And so
yeah.
for weeks, I'm looking for this guy. I'm looking for this guy. I can't find him. I can't find him.
Oh,
And then 2 weeks ago, I bumped into him and say, "Oh, hey, those the vouchers that you remember you were asking me for food. I got two vouchers for you." And I pulled up two vouchers and I gave it to him. And I felt good about it in the moment because I just felt so bad that I said no when I actually did have them. That
mhm.
type of stuff. But I'm human. I'm supposed to feel these things. Now, if I said no and I lied about it and I don't feel anything about it, there's a problem with me.
I think,
You know what
yes.
I mean? I'm supposed to feel this way. So it's
Yeah.
like, no, I'm not. I'm telling people don't deny any of those feelings.
Yeah.
All
Yeah.
these feelings that you feel in the moment are legit.
That's
Now, can you
true.
become aware of them?
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. And the more awareness you have, the more control you have over what you can express and what you can put out there to the world. But the reason why we do a lot of things that we do is because we don't have awareness over it.
Yeah.
People who are doing the most serious crimes, even though they know they're doing it, it doesn't mean that they're aware.
Mm.
It's a different type of thing when people say, well, that person's aware that they're killing the other person. They're aware that they know it's the wrong thing. So that's not really what I'm talking about. It's deeper than that because you have to be aware of where that's coming from to some sense.
Yes.
Like what's
Exactly.
causing me to do this?
Yes.
And some of my experiences before breaking into the peak experience, I can see the roots of why I do some of the things that I do. I can see the root. I'm like, oh, that's why I do that thing.
Why? Yeah.
Right?
And
You became more aware of it, and then because you became more aware of it, you start to let go of it. You're not as attached to it anymore because you're now doing that thing with awareness. So, like Osho says, someone asked Osho, and I'm paraphrasing here, how what do I do to stop smoking? And Osho said, smoke with awareness.
yes. Facts. Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Whatever it is that you're doing, just do that very thing with awareness. Over
Yes.
time, you'll stop doing it because you become so aware of the thing that you're doing that you wouldn't even want to do it anymore.
Yeah. I you know what you're saying right now is it's so key to healing. It is so key to healing. It's so key to manifestation. It's so key to doing anything that we want to do in life. And it's so key to loving. Do it with awareness. Whatever you're doing,
Awareness.
just not just be mindful, be aware. Like do it
Be aware.
with awareness, I used to tell people, I really want you to, like, in like when you get up, maybe you send a nice little message, hey, happy rising or something, right? And when I stopped one day and I was like, okay, I'm writing a book called Happy Rising Spirit, right? So it was this whole thing that I download or whatever you want to call it, right? That I had. It's 5 years I'm writing this book. It's done, but I'm just putting it through the whole publishing thing, right? So
Mhm.
I became very aware. It's like I will say Most High just had me like becoming conscious of my consciousness. Do you know what I'm saying? Like
Mhm.
really becoming conscious of my consciousness. Like, okay, you're saying happy rising. What do you mean? Is this really what you want to say to this person? And so I had to like really reel in and say like, what am I really trying to say to this person? What do I really want? So I started saying something like, I hope your day is aligned. And then I realized, no, that's not actually what I really want for them. I want them to be aware of the alignment. I actually want people to have awareness, like more awareness of, you know, whatever it is that they're doing. So have the awareness, be in awareness of divine alignment. And I just feel like if more people were just aware for simple things, just be aware, be aware, be conscious when you're eating. What are you actually really eating? What is it really
Mindful
doing?
eating.
Why are you eating it? You know what I mean? Just and then that has helped me so much. That has helped me so much. Like I don't have some people say like, should someone drink or not drink, and all these things. And it's like, no, you need to be just conscious, like you need to be super aware. If you are gonna take a drink, and the reason you're taking this drink is because you're sad, and or the reason you're taking this drink is because you know there's something you should be dealing with, but you don't want to deal with it, so now you're taking the drink to help you, numb yourself, or there's
Mhm.
all of these things. So it's like, be aware of why you're doing something, be aware. And I'm just using the drink thing because someone asked me about that recently. But the more awareness we can bring to whatever it is we do, we will literally stop doing. So if you're overweight, you want to lose weight, if you become aware of, why am I eating this thing? Why am I choosing to eat this? Once you become aware of why you're doing it, then you can resolve that thing. You know what I mean? It's so much easier to heal anything and everything. It's the relationships, the whatever. If you just become aware of, why are you doing it? Where is it stemming from? What is this desire? What are you getting from it? If you just get into all that stuff, it's very it's very difficult for you to stay in a place of being unconscious of how you're moving through life. And I think
Mhm.
the quickest, like if someone wanted to see like a massive transformation in their life, I would tell them, just start being aware of, just let that be your practice. You know what I mean? Try to walk in awareness. Why are you putting on the clothes you're putting on? Like, why are you choosing that? You just start seeing things that you didn't even realize were deep in your subconscious. Sometimes you realize beliefs you had, you realize so many things, you know.
Start to realize
What
that they're programs.
caused the programs? Yes. So I want to ask you, what was it that what was your, I'll use it this way, awakening to awareness? Like, when can you remember a moment or a time when that really became um like an aha moment, for you, so to speak? Like, was it after, was it a spiritual experience that you had, or was it like, how did it come about that you became aware of awareness, the power of awareness?
Well, that's already just part of my practice.
Mm,
Um, my mentor, my late mentor, he passed away some years ago. That was his theme. Just become
okay.
aware.
Wow.
So
Yeah.
he gives examples of how you can put that into your practice of learning how to become aware. But all the other times, the actual insights of awareness all happens in the 50 to 60 something spiritual awakenings that I had. There was always a level of awareness that I came
I
back
love it.
with.
Yes. Yes. Yeah. I love that. Okay. Um, I have a question here for you. Let's see. I don't, we had the love story, special series, Love Before the Fall, right? You came on it for the last one, the last episode. You came on there. And we had like all the previous sessions. I think it was only one of them that we had when we talked about the divine masculine. And obviously you weren't on there for that one, but I wanted to take a moment just to ask you a few questions because I think it's so important to have always that balance of, you know, feminine and masculine. You know what I mean? And I try to always hold that. So now you being masculine and I being feminine, I want to ask you some questions, just two, maybe three, just to kind of pick your brain a little bit to get your perspective on some things. Um, you've had experiences before, right? Your major experience, and then you've had experiences after. As far as it comes to being male, being masculine, right? Is there a difference being a masculine before those spiritual awakening experiences? And is there like to now, to after? How have they affected your awareness of you as in this body, in this lifetime? You're a male, right? Um, how have these spiritual experiences changed? If they have, maybe they haven't, but have they changed anything? Your perception of what it means to be a masculine or anything like that, to be a male in this lifetime?
Probably after those experiences, I care less about that.
Mm.
You know, I would probably say that more than anything. Um, in general,
Mm-hmm.
if I'm in a situation where it requires masculine energy, that comes up to my awareness. Someone said to me, another person on the spiritual path, we got to an argument, and the person said that I'm toxic. She said, um, your masculinity is toxic. I disagree with that because I'm like, no, I'm just taking a stance on
That's
something
right.
that I don't agree with. That doesn't make me
Yeah.
toxic. It doesn't mean I
No.
don't have any toxicity within
Yeah,
my
but that doesn't.
masculinity. But in that
Yeah.
situation, I'm like, no, 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 no.
Yeah.
I'm taking a stand on something that I just
Yes.
that I. It's not that I disagreed with the thing that was said, but I was asked to do something that I didn't want to do, and that's
That's
why I
right.
made it known that I'm not doing that thing. And
Yes.
she interpreted it as being toxic. I
Yeah.
took that as I have a strong back. I
That's right.
have a
You're a
strong
man.
backbone. I'm taking a stand on this.
Yeah.
I am not doing that thing you're asking me to do
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
sometimes someone asks you to do something and they're expecting you to do that very thing that they're asking. They're not actually asking; they're telling you to do it. I'm
Yes.
responding to you saying, "No, I don't,
Yeah.
I don't prefer to do that thing." And
Mhm.
I thought I was being polite about it or being respectful about it, but she took it the other way because it
You
wasn't
said
the
no.
response that she wanted.
Yeah,
I
that's
said
all.
no. Yeah.
That's it.
So that something like that, I became very aware of that. Like in that moment, I have to take a stand. And if
Yes.
that's and if that's something if that's something that needed to be done in the moment, I don't want to lose that. I don't want to
I
be
love
the type of person that I switched up just because I needed to make you feel happy in the moment. No, my answer is no.
that.
There's
I
things that
love
I will
that.
do for you. There's things I will compromise, but I
Yeah.
will not do that.
Yeah. Yeah. I love that.
And I think that's a masculine thing to do.
That's right. That's right.
All
That
right.
is absolutely
Yeah.
right. I so much appreciate that. I know that there's a lot of people who, and anytime, I feel like anytime a man is being a man, it's being called is being called toxic. Like it's a thing now. Like anytime a man
Yeah. It
stands
became a
up,
thing.
yeah,
Yeah.
I don't, it's like anytime a man is doing something that you don't want him to do, it's all of a sudden toxic. So
Yeah.
can men even be men? You know what I mean?
Can't
Like
even be a man in that moment. And it's
in
like
that moment,
this is
yeah. And
so wrong. It's
yeah.
like this is what you want. You want wishy-washy. First you're saying, "Oh, we're not man enough because we're not like the Vikings and
Yeah.
whatever," and then when we try to man up, you're like, "Oh, oh,
That's
you can't. Oh, I feel unsafe." It's like, no,
yeah.
slow down. I'm taking a stand on something here.
Yeah, that's it.
Don't mix that up with yeah.
Yeah.
So people have to realize what they're talking about, what and
Yeah.
how they're interpreting stuff. Not everything that the man does is toxic. These are things
No.
that you're supposed to do,
Yes.
right? I'm
Fact.
supposed to take a stand on things. I'm
Yeah.
supposed to, if something comes up and someone has to make a decision, I have to come up and make the
Yeah.
decision,
That's right. Yeah. That's it.
right? It may not always be the right decision, but that's the
But you
decision
have to
I'm
make it.
making right now in this moment,
Yeah.
right? And
Yeah.
that's a masculine thing,
That's right.
right?
That's
I don't want to lose that,
no, please don't. Please don't. Please
right?
don't.
In the moment.
Yeah.
But of course, there's another part of me where, of course, within this experience, there is no difference between the
Yeah.
masculine
Yeah.
and the feminine. They
Yeah.
become one thing.
Yes.
But of course, when you come out of it, you are mostly at least one thing. We're all made up of both. We have,
Yes. Yeah.
of
Yeah.
course, you know this. We're made
Yeah.
up of both masculine and feminine. But of
Yeah.
course, my interior and my exterior may exude masculinity, but
Mhm.
I'm a combination of different things. But
Yes.
what's the point I was trying to make? I
Well,
can't remember what point I was trying to make.
we were
What was
saying
I trying to say?
well, we were saying that, like in this time, like anything like when males stand up or masculines are being masculine, it's being kind of looked at feminine, but you're like, or being looked at as toxic, and you're saying, but I'm supposed to, and I'm supposed to
Yeah,
have,
if I'm supposed to
you know,
stand up for myself, I'm supposed to make
yeah,
decisions. I'm supposed to take a stand on things, and I shouldn't have to compromise my beliefs for something else. But
yeah,
the thing that I was trying to say
yeah.
is the thing that has changed about me, I became more honest about how I feel, which
Okay.
is a feminine trait.
Okay.
All right. So I'll let you know in the moment if we're having a discussion on something that we were comfortable or that got uncomfortable. I'll tell you that I'm hurt by the thing you just said to me. I
That's
wouldn't do this
good.
before because my definition of a man didn't include that.
Okay.
But now I'll do that. And some people may look at that as a weakness because it's
Yes.
that you've gone too soft. Other people may look at that as a strength. I look at it as a strength. I'm letting you know how I feel in this
I
moment.
feel
I'm
that's
not
great.
asking for anything to change.
Yeah.
I'm just saying this is how I feel in this
I love
moment as
that.
we're having
Yeah.
that type of thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
So in my masculinity, I've learned to become more feminine within the thing that I'm doing so that if I'm moving forward on something, I'm just letting you know how I feel.
Yeah.
I'm in touch with my feelings. I'm just telling
Yes.
you, this is how I feel in this moment. In this moment,
Yeah.
I feel hurt. In this moment, I feel
Yes.
sad. In this moment, I
Yeah.
feel embarrassed. In this moment, I feel
Yes.
vulnerable, as opposed to I would
Yeah.
hide that before within my so-called manhood.
Mm. Yeah. And the thing is, I just see that as being an honest human being. I think that there are certain things that are supposed to be for both male and female, like honesty, clear communication. You
For
know,
communication.
that's it. Clear communication and honesty. I feel both males and females should be that and have that at all times. Doesn't matter who you're talking to, whether it's your child or your boss, your husband, your lover, your wife, your whoever the case is. Clear communication and honesty. So if I'm saying something to a man and it's hurtful to him, and he says, Yandea, wow, hold on. What you just said there was very hurtful. I would never look at that man like you're being in your feminine, your
You're a
feelings,
punk.
or you're being never. You know what? Because for
Yeah.
me as an individual, it's not my intention to hurt you, especially if I'm trying to be truthful. So if I'm and I'm trying to communicate clearly. So if now I'm communicating and all I'm doing in my communication is actually hurting you and putting you down, then I'm not being productive. I'm not going to solve the thing that we're trying to solve. It's only when we're honest with each other can we make like whatever changes need to be made in order to communicate clearly. You know what I mean? And so I could never, whether it was a man, a woman, a child, anybody who had to say, hey, while you're speaking to me right now, and this is what I'm getting from what you're saying, or this is how it's affecting me, that's honesty. That's clear communication. And I think that's great. But I think what we've done is in order to silence the masculine, in order to make him actually more feminine, we have said things, done things to silence him. You know what I mean? And
Right.
one of the
Yep.
things we've done is actually, so it's actually the opposite, where saying something to a man that lets him know you should hide your feelings, or you should whatever the case is, because you won't be perceived as masculine, is actually not making him more masculine at all, because a man should be able to say what he feels or thinks with his chest. Like, you know what I mean? Like, hey, you're talking to me in a certain way, and this is not respectful, or this is what is, a man should be able to say that. I don't
Should be
see
allowed to
that
say that.
man.
I
Yeah,
don't like your tone.
I don't like your tone. This is not the way
What?
to,
Yeah.
yeah,
Watch
this
the
is
way you
not going
speak
to
to me. I
solve
don't
a
like your tone.
problem. Facts, you know what I mean? Yeah. So
Yeah.
I don't think, I think that's just basic human respect, because likewise, if a man is speaking to me and I don't like his tone, I'm going to tell him that that's not feminine. That's, you're speaking to me, I'm a human being, and you speak to me with respect. Likewise, I need to speak to you with respect. This has nothing, but it has been weaponized in order
Yeah.
to silence males specifically. Specifically, I see that. And
We
I'm
throw
just,
the baby out with the bathwater.
yes,
All right.
yes, yes,
Because there are some things about males traditionally that needs to change, and vice
for
versa. We
sure.
never discussed the feminine half of that. But for males, there are things that are toxic that needs to change. What we've done
Yeah.
in this society, we just took all of everything that's masculine, we threw it out. And it's
And
like,
look where we are. It's
look,
crazy.
look where we are. Look what's happening, right? So,
So crazy shit.
right. So
Ah,
that can't be the solution. Throw out the baby with the bathwater. You can't take everything and throw it. The way how men, boys, we learn how to communicate through physical contact. That's how we learn to become social, how we engage. This is why we play fight alike when we're kids.
yes, yes.
These things are necessary. But
Must.
now
They're must.
you can't do that in the school ground. You can't do this, whatever. A woman teacher or a female teacher or whoever will pull two boys apart if they're have body
Definitely.
contact.
Yeah.
I'm sure they're not supposed to hurt each other, but no, they're trying to communicate because women learn how to use their vocal
Yeah.
their vocal abilities before guys do. We're still learning how to use our
Yeah.
we're in our old age and still know how to speak verbally.
Yeah.
Right? Because we
Yeah.
learn how to do things for our body. This is how we attract women. We
Yes.
attract women through our walk, through our
Yeah.
bounce, through our the rhythm. We attract women through the way how we dance. We attract
Yeah.
women the way how we use our gestures.
Yes.
Women
It
don't realize this, but this is part of the attraction.
is.
If we
Yeah.
lose that, we lose everything, right? The verbal stuff comes second. It's also very necessary. Women
Mhm.
learn how to master that way before men do, and it's very necessary as well. It's
Yes.
just we're coming from two different standpoints, where a
Yeah.
man's learning how to use his physical ability first, where a woman is learning how to use her verbal ability
Yeah.
first, because that's how they're designed. And the moment we start taking boys and tell them that they can't have any physical contact when that's the way we learn,
Yeah.
this is how I'm able to attract the females because I know how to use my body.
Body. Yeah. Yeah.
Right? It's
Wow.
everything.
Yeah.
Whether a person is aware of it or not.
Mm-hmm.
This is why learning how to play drums, learning how to play an instrument, learning how to taking dance lessons can play a huge role in the man's life. Learning how to use his body
Yes.
when he's presenting himself in front of the opposite sex
Yeah.
and
And
also the same sex. Because
yeah.
learning how to position yourself in front of other men puts you in the position when someone's trying to figure out who's the alpha male in the group.
Exactly.
Someone has to be.
Exactly.
Right?
Someone's
And someone has
yeah.
to put themselves in place to say, I'm the alpha male of this group. I'm the one who's going to lead this group and
Yeah.
take you guys over to whatever that thing is,
Whatever it is.
whether it's a
Whatever.
basketball team or whatever that thing is. Right? It's a thing that we've learned through social activity, and we shouldn't be hurting people, but of course, people do get hurt within
Of course.
when kids are playing or play
Yeah.
fighting. But that's how we kind of learn it.
Yeah.
So there have to be some limits to that, of course. But you have to let boys be boys, because look, men are becoming. I meet some guys. I'm like, yo, where's your backbone, bro? Where's your backbone? Like, have a little backbone. Have a
Yeah.
little,
It's
right?
crazy.
It's
It's absolutely. So what in light of everything that we've spoken about last episode, this episode, and we can say we know everything is everything. We know that God is doing it all. Okay. But I have my personality. You have your personality. Um, Other people obviously have theirs. With everything we know, we are still going to have an opinion. We are still going to
still gonna have
have,
an opinion. Yep.
yeah, and that's what I think it is. Some people, it's difficult for them to grasp. They feel like they have to deny one thing in order to exist in another thing. Do you get what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Yeah. You don't have to
So
deny anything.
Yeah, you can know all of this stuff and still be like, knowing all that I know, I am still here experiencing time. And I'm also there not experiencing time, but knowing of it, whatever the case is. However, here I am, and my consciousness is focused here in this lifetime. In this lifetime, I've had these experiences. And through them, I have come to have these perspective on different things and opinions. And this is my stance on these certain topics. You can be an individual person. You can have a full,
Mhm.
personality, and you can change your mind about things as you continue to, increase your awareness and so on and so forth. So that being
Yeah.
said, you and I, where we are, if we had to sit down and say, okay, how how can we, and I know I asked you the question earlier about bringing stillness to chaos, okay, but all of that aside, how can we have sat here and identified an issue, let's say the silencing of men, the silencing of the masculine, and also, let's say, the culture, the system, uh suppressing them from growing healthily is how I look at it. I feel like we're not allowing, males to grow in a healthy way so that they can move from boys to actually men instead of boys all the way up dying and they're still
Bigger
boys
boys.
in a sense. Bigger boys. So old boys, literally. So
Oh boys.
we've identified something that wasn't there, and we both said yes, in the past, in the history, there were some things about the masculine that was accepted and may not have been right, and definitely there were things about the feminine that was accepted and wasn't right either, but somehow the only adjustment really went to, well, they both got adjusted, right, through feminism and different things. There
Hmm.
was adjustments
That's
made,
true.
but
Yeah.
but I think more negative was done. As I feel like feminism did more negative than positive, but that's my opinion.
Hmm.
And I think it also affected and played a huge part in the silencing of the masculine. So how can we help the pendulum to to come back a little? Because it seemed like it was all the way here, then it took a far swing. How
Hmm.
can we help it to be balanced? I think balance is a good thing to seek, but how can we, is there anything we can do? Should we be wanting, desiring to do anything to help it come back to a place of balance? Because you have children, I have children. I have four boys and one girl. I'm very concerned in a
You have four
sense.
boys?
Yeah.
How do
For
you have four boys?
What do you mean?
Four boys.
You
I'm
don't
missing
remember?
someone.
No, who are you missing? Adriel,
Who am
the
I?
oldest one, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Micah's the drummer. Remember Micah the
Micah's the drummer. Yeah.
yeah, and then
My
Omni.
that's my that's yeah, the bright little Micah. Oh God.
Yeah,
How old is he now?
Micah's 19.
Okay. My mind.
Right,
Okay,
right.
so he's
Yeah.
19. Who's
And
after Micah?
Adriel's gonna be 23 on Tuesday. I
It's gonna
know.
be 23?
23 on Tuesday. Yep.
What the? And
Yeah.
then there's
And
your
then so
daughter.
Omni, you remember oh, maybe no, Zayn was there too, but yeah, Omni and Zayn are the last. Oh, then my daughter, yes, obviously. My daughter, Mariah, she's 17 in August.
17 now.
And yeah, and then Omni is 11 and Zayn
11 already?
is 9.
Jeez.
Yeah, yeah. And
Oh, so I
Zayn
don't
is
think I know the last one.
oh, the last one, the 9-year-old? Yeah, Zayn. Would you not know? You know what? I've talked to you and Zayn's been, you
I
know
don't think
what?
I've ever met Zane.
I think the last time I think I saw you, I was pregnant with Zayn.
For
That's
real?
right. I think
I
the
didn't know
last
you were
time I saw
pregnant.
you,
Okay.
maybe
I
you
didn't know
did
you were
not,
pregnant. I didn't know
did
that.
not,
Yeah.
yeah.
Because the last time I
Mm-hmm.
saw you is when your kids used to come to take vortex-based mathematics from me. Remember,
No,
and I
I
was
saw
teaching
you.
them?
I saw you at Rise after that. I saw you at Rise after that. Um,
Oh, and you're okay. I didn't know you were okay. I don't remember the time I saw you
yeah,
rise, but you were pregnant
yeah.
then. Okay, I didn't know you were pregnant. So you had a baby, I didn't even know
Do you
about it.
remember when I was, do you remember when I was doing the financial stuff?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so I would
It
have,
was
yeah,
during
I
that
would have
time.
already had the, yep, yep,
Oh, and I
yep,
didn't see
yep.
you. Okay. I didn't even know you had a baby. Okay.
Exactly.
In that time period. Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
That makes sense.
So
That's what I'm missing. So, so how do you have four boys?
Yep, yep, yep,
Hilarious.
yep. So I have
Yeah.
four boys, Morgan, and I'm quite concerned because, in a sense, I'm not quite concerned in like the, oh my God, what, but I am. I'm because I could know what I know for me, but they still have to live in this reality. You get what I'm
Hmm.
saying? Where things are, happening. So I as a mother, I want to do the best that I can to bring back balance in any way possible. I'm not saying I wanted to go all the way there. I just wanted to bring back a sense of, if someone wants to choose whatever they want to choose, they should be able to choose it. And my husband says it all this time. He says it this way: if we could create a world where we stop making victims, that would be good. You know, we can live a life without creating victims. You can have freedom without creating a victim, and it's not even hard to do that. Really, it's not. If you could just say, I'm going to go through life and not create a victim, you know, that's it. So I want my sons to live, and my daughter, obviously, to live in a place where um, they can live as males and not be accused of making victims just by being boys, and I see it all the time, left, right, and center. Someone is a victim. There's always new victims popping up out of everywhere. You're violent with your words, like all sorts of crazy things that didn't exist before. So do you have a desire, because you have children also, and even if we didn't have children, but do you have a desire to bring any form of like balance back to this? you know I think these scales that are not tipped, are not balanced in especially for masculines, for males, right? Do you feel
Hmm.
that?
Not really. I do just allow things. I have opinions about things, but I still allow things to happen as they do. People are trying to make these changes through
Yeah,
having conversation, through education and things like that. Anyway,
yeah,
the difference is um, the lifespan of existence is much longer than the lifespan of an individual. So it may not happen in the time frame that we wanted because
mhm,
our lifespan is 0 to maybe 78, 80, 90, maybe 100. Maybe you can push it a little longer. That's our lifespan. Whereas
mhm,
existence is trillions and trillions and trillions of years.
yeah,
These things happen anyway. Things do change.
yeah,
This thing
mhm,
will probably change, but of course, when this change, there's going to be a new problem anyway. There's going to be new challenges. There's going to be
right,
something else that needs to be adjusted.
yeah,
There's no way around that. It's always going to happen. So as much as if
yeah,
I even have, even if I'm able to contribute to making this change in regards to masculinity, it's going to be something else anyway. Something else is going to be off balance that needs to be fixed. It's an ongoing thing. Is that something
yeah,
that we can change? That's just how it is. Life
yeah,
is always challenging, just like our individual lives. You may be able to fix something in your life, but something else will pop up and will occur. Great changes happened
yeah,
in my life, and then new challenges came up. It's like, oh
yeah,
man, can I
facts.
ever have a moment
There
where
is.
everything is just whatever? And you'll have brief moments of that, but there will always be
You have
challenges.
brief.
And when it comes from a
Yeah,
social standpoint, these will always be challenges in regards to
yeah,
um, everything that we're speaking of that's involved in sociology. It will always
yeah,
be that's an ongoing thing. So it's just a matter
yeah,
of okay, this is how it is. Am I living in the right time period where this thing is going well? But of
mm,
course, it will be something else that isn't. Yeah,
yeah,
there's nothing I can do about that. Do I have a desire? Like, of course, on some level, I would want things a certain way, but I'm
yeah,
also at the same time, I'm at the point where it is what it is. But I still have
yeah.
an opinion about it, but it is what it is.
Of course.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think for me, knowing everything we've been speaking about, I can still see exactly like what you said. Our lifetimes may be here, right? Let's say 100 years, 100 years, while or our individual like lives, and then the lifetime is long, right? So you have change like you said, we were born in this certain timeline where we're basically reaping the things that were sown from people before,
That's
right?
right.
And how we find
Karma.
ourselves. Yeah, because this isn't new. This has been, this was set up a long time. There were so many
Been works for
things
a very long time.
that had to be in place for it to get to where it is right now. And the way I look at it is like, while I may not be here for the next 200 years or whatever the case may be, um, and it may not be even my children to benefit, the fact that I am living, the fact that I am conscious and I am living in the what someone else has sown, it tells me that I can, I may not be able to change it for me, but if I sow something good in my timeline, then someone in the future can have at least a moment of bliss, of pause in that thing. The same way, like there are certain things that I don't want to change about life. Why? Because there are people way back then who sowed some good stuff. And so now I could reap something good in this area. You know what I mean? And
Mhm.
so I think that's what we always, I feel that's part of the cycle, right? It's not,
That's part of
yes,
the cycle.
yeah, we're aware of it, but then it's like, okay, what are the things about life right now that I may not enjoy? What can I do to help that get better? It's not going to necessarily be you to benefit from it, but if you sow that seed somewhere along the way, someone will benefit the same way right now you're benefiting from
Hmm.
something. You're benefiting something that someone did and they're not even there to reap it. You're
That's
benefiting
right.
and something someone did back then that may have been negative, you're suffering, it. So
Yeah.
I think we all can, and this is just me thinking, it doesn't have to be anything grand, but this is part of when we talk about the human experience. It's important to feel these things. Like it's important to feel sad when you see someone who really needs your help and you're unable to help them. It's important to feel that thing because that feeling will lead you to possibly sowing a seed that will make that situation a little bit difficult, more difficult to get into. Like it could be really easy for some people to become homeless and lose everything. And it can also not be fair how it happened. So when you find out how did certain people get into these situations and you realize, wow, that shouldn't be able to happen just like that. And you feel it, that feeling may be a motivation for you to sow a seed that makes it harder for something like that to happen for somebody else. You may not change it for that person, you may not change it for
Mhm.
yourself, but somebody else could be 200 years down the road wouldn't have that sort of thing. You know what I mean? To
That's
deal
right.
with. But there'll always be, like you said, there'll always be something where
There'll
we
always
can,
be something.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. But I always ask this question. I'll ask you the same question. Who invented the highway system?
The one we have right now,
The one we have right now. Who invented it?
I have no idea. I think my husband knows, but I don't know.
Well,
We talk about
maybe your
highways
husband knows,
sometimes.
but I don't know. I don't know
Yeah,
who did it, but I benefit from it.
yeah, yeah,
Right? Someone had an idea because something wasn't working. Someone had an idea.
yeah,
Right? But for that person to even have the idea of a highway, someone had to have an idea of a road,
yeah,
and someone had to have an idea to create pavement.
yes,
Right? We benefit from these things now. We take it for granted, but we benefit from these things now.
yes,
They didn't
yeah,
fully benefit from the full evolved highway system,
yeah,
right? When it was in the works, it still had to work out its kinks. It's still working out its kinks,
yeah,
right? But we benefit from these things because someone thought of the idea.
yeah,
I don't know who invented pavement. I don't know who invented tar. I don't know who came up with the road system. I don't know who created highways. I don't even remember in the moment who invented the first car. The
yeah.
information was there, but I don't
It's
remember it
there.
at the moment.
Yeah,
But I benefit from these things.
yeah,
I don't know who discovered gasoline. I don't know who
yeah,
realized that dead fossil fuel, dinosaur fossil fuel led to the
yeah,
oil industry. I don't know who did it,
yeah,
but I benefit from it.
yeah.
Also, too, at the same time, I benefit from it. Is it destroying the ozone layer, destroying the planet?
Oh
Yes.
my gosh,
In the
I was
same, you know
thinking,
what I
I
mean?
was
All these
literally
things are happening.
thinking, I was literally thinking the same thing because I
We
was
create a
thinking
heaven,
about the
both heaven and a hell within our
exactly, exactly,
experience.
exactly. Because the same person who said, you know what, for example, if someone said, okay, everybody's on bumpy roads, and they're like, okay, we need this to be better. Okay. someone creates something, okay, maybe it's asphalt or whatever the case is, but then when you experience a problem, and this is, I think, when we talk about like ego and so on and so forth, is the problem that we're facing right now, is it because, I mean, in the world, where how the world is right now, could it be possible that because we have been stuck, the majority of people, even if we're inventing stuff, if we've been stuck at the ego stage, right? Not state, but we're stuck at the ego stage.
Yeah, the actual stage, the egocentric stage.
Egocentric stage, even if we're having these greater awarenesses, but even if we're stuck at that stage, then that means every invention that we make is still stuck at the ego stage too. So like, let's say, for example, I'm going to create a road. This road will be great for us to get to where we're getting, but it doesn't think, well, the next step, will there be any negative effects to this road? Like, how will it affect the environment? How will it affect the village over there when we dump a whole bunch of stuff in there in the water? How will it affect? We don't go that far. So could it be possible, as we're, talking about how can we, because I think I made a comment saying like feminism came along and then it did some negative stuff for women and for men. If Now that's a whole big topic, because I know there's a lot of people who were involved with that movement that were not all right. They had ulterior motives from the get. Let's just leave it
Sure. But overall,
there.
feminism did a great benefit to women in general overall. But of
Mhm.
course, we can break it down, we can dissect it and find the problems with it.
Yeah.
Sure, of course. But
But
overall,
but then when you're
I don't.
saying overall, but when you're this is exactly what I'm getting. When we're saying overall, some may say, I would be one of those who would say it did benefit overall in an ego sense. But when you
Mm,
look at it
I would say in the ethno sense.
in the ethno sense even, but
Yeah,
when we're looking
yeah.
in like cosmically or higher than that, what were the effects of it? If it's
Mm,
gonna be just the ethno sense, but then we're not seeing, wait, what effect is this gonna have on the masculine? What effects is this gonna have on the future generations? How is this really affecting, because there's so many things that came out of it, right, from so many different opinions about different things and whatever. Now you have there's like a wave of women who are now coming out of feminism, and they're saying, oh my gosh, we did not realize the damage this would have done, and we
yeah, yeah.
can't take things back. You know what I mean? And so listening to these women who've been hardcore advocates all of these years, and some of them very old, they've pioneering in there, for a long time, now living long enough to see the damage that has been done through all of their advocating for different things, not realizing the other side of it, right? Because they're trying to solve a problem just thinking of it right here, just about women, or just about the women who are oppressed in this way, or just about not thinking on a grander level. So when we're talking about
Which is almost impossible for humans to do that, though. It's hard for us
Mhm.
individuals to think that kind of meta thinking. That's huge. That's too much.
Really,
Um,
what makes it
most
what
human
makes
beings
it
can't.
hard?
Most human beings can't do that. It's our
Mm.
brains are not designed to do that.
Mm.
Um, you're going to measure things based on lifespan and based on maybe the next maybe one or two, three generations. Most people can't think with that type of cognition because that's only certain people. It's a small percent of people who are able to do that properly, and even then, they're going to get mistakes wrong. They're going to get mistakes in that because you're talking about something that I'm making predictions of what could possibly happen if I create this thing. Um, the downside to that is if I don't create this thing at all, nothing will get done.
Right.
So it has to be created. Now, are there going to be problems that are going to happen because of the thing that I'm creating? Yes. But who wins a world championship without any injuries?
Right. Right.
Right? They're bound to happen.
Yeah. But and
They're
then
bound to happen. But we
maybe
won
maybe
but we won the championship.
yes, and maybe all of those injuries lead to a better way to practice.
Right.
You get what I'm
It
saying?
can lead to a better way of practicing. It leads to other inventions. where
Other
someone says,
inventions.
hey, let's
Yes.
invent a helmet or whatever so that football
Exactly.
players don't get damaged
It's
as much.
true.
So these things create new inventions,
Yes.
which are supposed to help people, of course, but probably if you wear the helmet too long or whatever over time, maybe it reshapes your head or something. Who knows?
Right.
Of all
And
the
then that
different things.
prevents a certain type of brain something, and
Yeah.
it's a whole
And
other
who
thing.
knows? Yeah,
Yeah.
who knows what that would do? So
Yeah.
my thing is every problem, every problem, every solution, every problem creates solutions, and solutions creates more problems, which leads to more problems leading to more solutions, and on and on. It's an ongoing thing.
Yeah.
Evolution itself does that. God
Yes.
could have just said, if I create everything into existence and I put momentum of time in it, uh, there's going to be a time period where slavery is going to happen for 300 years with Africans being taken from their homelands into these other countries. Well, you know what? I got to avoid that. So I better just not make creation in the first place.
Mm-hmm.
Right. It could have done that, but it didn't do that. So let's put it out there and let's see when the slave thing came along, because it was a solution to a problem that
Yeah.
certain people were having,
Yes.
right? And they
Yeah.
exploited a group of people to
Yeah.
that end,
Mm-hmm.
right? But something else happened. People came in place and said, well, hold a sec. We've raised our level of consciousness or whatever. Something here is wrong.
Right. Right.
We need
Right.
to change that. And that led to
Mm-hmm.
a whole bunch of other things. But at the same time, too, if you didn't bring these people over to these other lands, whatever, we never would have had to have the experience of R&B and hip hop and other subcultures, and the list goes on of all the things we would have never experienced if that never happened.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like it's who to say. I see them all as experiences. I
Yeah.
don't like all the experiences, but I just
Yeah.
see them all as experiences. They lead to things that I like and things that I don't like. But what if I lived in a world where I didn't like anything? Sorry, what if I lived in a world where I liked everything?
Yeah.
I wouldn't even know what it is to like anything because I have nothing that I don't like.
Mm-hmm.
I don't even have a sense of discrimination in any way or shape or
Mm-hmm.
form. That's not living either.
Do you
Right.
think
So
you
for
think
me,
it's possible?
to
Do you think
me and
that's
you
even
to have a
possible
discussion
though?
about things that we don't like,
Yeah.
we made a connection there. So that
Yeah.
even that means that two people are able to connect on a level that we say, hey, we share common ground on this thing.
Yeah.
That's the connection that me and you made because of this thing that's happening. There's
True.
no way this thing could be wrong
Yeah.
or right. It's
All
just
right. It just
these
it
things lead to connections happening.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
All right. If you talk to your husband, how many things you talked about where you were talking about things that you both disagreed with? Like you were in agreement with each other,
Oh,
but
we
something that you
yeah,
both didn't like. That made
exactly.
connection. That made stronger connections. That
For
made the two of
sure.
you form a bond.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
If those things were never in place,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
you would have had that one conversation and you guys would have kept it moving.
I dare
These
say
things,
that most of our we connect so much because there are so many things that are
that's not aligned
happening
with the two of you.
that we're just like what the so we yeah, and
Right.
it's very 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 like other things that doesn't even matter to other people, and we're like, how do they
Yeah.
not? Yeah, so I
Right. And
totally
you have that in common with each other. That's what
oh
forms these
yeah,
bonds.
oh
So
yeah,
the universe knows exactly what it's doing.
yeah,
Right.
yeah,
It's just the
oh
thing is
yeah.
there's time and place, right? We wouldn't be alive long enough to see what change this has, what kind of effect it will have on people 200 years from now.
Mm-hmm,
Hence why if you throw in the idea of reincarnation, you do get to experience it in another lifetime. You may not remember it, but you do get to experience what that thing would be in another lifetime because that's just what
yeah.
uh, creation does.
Yeah. And I think when they say what a man sows, that shall he reap.
Yeah.
Considering the first thing I experienced, and I already knew about my past lives, but the amount that I got to be aware of when I went on the other side and what will also come after, I do think that those people here, I'm not saying every single one, but I do feel like it is in our own best interest also to create, if you want to say, heaven on earth, right? Because whether it's our children, our grandchildren, ourselves who come back, you know what
Hmm.
I mean, into this creation, this place of existence, it doesn't matter what timeline it's in. If we come back, because we know there's multiple dimensions, whatever the case, but if we happen to come back to this one, then you can possibly be reaping what you've sown, right? And it could be
Hmm.
something very positive. And even if you spent your whole life pouring your heart into making it better for children who were sex trafficked, or you know what I mean, like all these
Yeah.
great things that you could do to make a change. It's very, very possible that, because I believe in that, like karma and different things, you know what I mean. I believe and know that you do reap what you sow.
Mhm.
I experience it all the time, you
But I would
know.
say this though. I would say this. It doesn't matter what heaven you create. Heaven will create a hell.
Yeah. Well, there will
Yeah.
be
There's just no way around it.
there will naturally be a hell. It's
Yeah, there'll
just,
naturally be one.
yeah, there
Yeah.
will
There's
naturally
just
be a
no
hell.
way around that.
Yeah,
So I can change something that will better the lives of people, but someone or something
yeah,
will suffer from that result.
yeah,
There's just no way around that. And that's also shown to people when they experience the ultimate love, that I have to love even that. At least I'm not at an individual level, but at a universal
yeah,
collective level, that I have to love even that because all of it is my creation.
yeah. And I'm okay with that, because when I saw that, it was fair to me. Like
Mm.
it didn't appear to me as something, uh it just was right. It just is, you know. Yeah, I didn't see it as, and I still don't, even though I know what it is. I don't see it as what we call good and bad just isn't good and bad. You know what I'm saying? Like there's cause and effect. Is what it is. There's cause
Cause
and
and
effect.
effect.
That's just
Yeah.
what it's not. We say good and bad. It's just cause and effect. There's cause and effect. You want that, if you want that, you do that, but it's all connected. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And the
And also
thing
there's
about it,
opposition and there's duality.
yes, yeah.
All
And
right.
the thing
At
about it
least
is
within Maya.
within your, so say that part again. I wanted to hear it clearly.
Yeah, that there's opposition and there's duality within Maya. Maya, again, for those who weren't here last
Yes.
week, if I said it last week, Maya means illusion. But in this case it just means it's not what it appears to be. That's
Yeah.
the illusion. It appears as good and evil, but
Yeah.
that's not what it really is.
Yeah. Um, what I that experience that I just mentioned there, it was like when I experienced this very, you call it heavenly, blissful feeling. I experienced it, and while I was experiencing it and was very well aware, like, oh, this is what people think heaven is, like, you know, when they have this experience. It's like I was able to have the experience while still having my consciousness realizing what that experience was. So I was still with my mind now realizing that, oh, this is what that experience is. And in that state of bliss, all of a sudden, I was able to have a thought of, where are the other people? Because not everybody was here. Like I was
Mm.
aware that not everybody's consciousness was in this place. And very easily, it was shown to me, if you bring your attention out of this place of bliss into thinking about where are the other people, you will come out of it. And so in that moment, I knew, in order for you to experience heaven in that sense where people are like, oh my God, it was all just bliss and love and everybody was like, there was no suffering. For you to be there in that place, you literally have to be ignorant to the fact that there's people who are not in that place. The very moment you shift your mind to a concern about the people who you will be aware of, not everybody is here. But if you focus on the not everybody that's here, you will shift out of it, because your desire will be for those that are not, and those that are not there are obviously not experiencing this, so they're experiencing states of hell pretty much, or lower states of heaven, if you will. um and I was aware that that's what I was choosing to do. And I was aware that if ever I wanted to experience heaven while being here, I had to literally choose to ignore, become oblivious of people who were not in that state. Do you get what I'm saying?
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
So
get what you're saying.
when you say, yeah, when you say that, like, to manifest one, there's another that's there. I just have to say yes. I totally I totally get that. And back to the choice, it's like, mm, when I say create heaven on earth, I am still not thinking of that state of being oblivious to others that are not. I think heaven on earth is balance. Like, I think heaven on earth is what I have within myself, which is balance. So
Hmm.
if I just want to bring balance to the earth, to where if someone wants to choose this, they can choose it, but don't force me into your thing. Choose what you want to choose for yourself. Be free to choose what you want to do for yourself. Don't make a victim, and don't try to force me to be in your reality. Do you get what I'm saying? Like, I need the same freedom that you want to say you are is the same freedom I want to have to say I'm not. Do you know what I mean? And
Hmm.
I feel like that is a heaven that we can attain just by allowing people to be who they are and not forcing people to be who you are. Like, just be, just,
Most people aren't at that level. Most people will never be at that level.
right. Yeah. So
Such
then
as
I have a
that's why
choice
the
to be
stages.
the
Yeah,
stages.
you have
Yes.
that choice. Yeah,
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
you've acknowledged it. You became aware of it.
Yeah.
But the higher stages of psychological development, they get less and less as you get higher. So at the highest level, is only
Yes.
5% of the world's population are even at that level. It may change some years from now. That may change to 10%. Um,
Yeah.
it can get bigger, but overall, most people will always be at the lower stages. I don't think we'll ever
Yeah.
get to a point
Just
where
like that.
everybody will reach 100% wherever we reach the higher stages of psychological development. Everyone starts at zero. Most people stop at level two.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm
few people will
aware of it.
push themselves further,
Yeah. Yeah.
but
There's
the
a
numbers
balance
can get
in
higher
that
though,
too.
and there's a balance
Yeah.
in that too.
It
The
can.
people at the higher
Yeah.
levels of psychological development do influence people at the lower levels.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, like,
Yeah.
just say, for example,
Definitely.
you have a work policy that tries to include everyone. It doesn't mean that everybody who's working at that workplace have reached that level. It just means that the people who
Exactly.
put the policies
Can.
together were looking at it higher levels. But it doesn't mean that everybody, all the departments within that workplace are at that level.
Yeah.
But they have to follow those rules.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So that's the
Okay.
influence of the influence of the small percentage,
And
and how they affect the larger percentage.
large, yes. So you recently shared with me one of your Yinnergy tracks, and it's telling you how I had my little, it wasn't your fault. It's just my phone is too overloaded with stuff. And I tried to download it on there to lay down and listen to it. Um, and I haven't had a chance to yet, but I will. I will definitely. I have to clear my phone. So I definitely will. Um, I wanted you to tell me, just as I wanted to spend this little time. I did want to talk about energy. What can I expect? Just like anybody else, right? Who would listen to your well, actually, first of all, I don't think, unless someone would have watched episode, they may not know what Yinnergy is. So just in a little bit, just can you share with us like share with us what it is and what it is that you sent me?
Before I do that,
Yes.
is there is the connection good?
It's good
How
for
are you
me.
seeing me? Oh yeah,
I'm
so I'm
hearing you,
getting it.
I'm seeing you good.
I
Yeah.
can hear your audio from the audio standpoint. Visually, you're starting to cut up, and it's on my end. So I'm just
Okay.
hoping that in your recording that it's still happening, that everyone can still see me and hear me talk and all that.
Okay.
So I'll talk
Hopefully
anyway.
there. I'm seeing you.
But
Yeah.
I hope we're good. Well, Yinnergy is a brainwave entrainment program. So there are different types of brainwave entrainment. In this case, it's based on binaural beats and monaural beats. Binaural beats is a combination of two tones, at least a combination of two tones. I use a lot more. Where if you have a tone in one ear, which is about, I'm just making it up here. To say if you have a tone of 200 in one ear and another tone in the other ear of 190, the center of your brain will create a tone, an imaginary tone of 10 hertz. And that 10 hertz will influence the brain to, it's a follow response. The brain will resonate to that 10 hertz. So they
Mm.
realized that you can mimic meditation states by using that method. Meditation states, in this case, they can be much higher, but in this case, I will say say 9 hertz going all the way down to 0.1 hertz. So you can slow a person's brain down to get in the electrical activity to produce a beat frequency of, if I went down to the lowest, of 0.1 hertz. So now that we know that we can do this, we can actually mimic the same type of brainwaves that people produce, advanced meditators produce when they are meditating. So that's what it is. So you're listening to audio tone that's slowing down or speeding up your brainwaves depending on the frequency, where it gradually slows your brain down, the brainwaves down, so that you'll produce the brain frequencies that mimic meditative states. So that's what Yinnergy is. So it's teaching you how to put yourself in advanced meditative states without the years and years of meditative practice.
Okay, so what you sent to me, is it something that other people could access or like to try?
Yeah, people can access it. People can order it if they want on you'll find it in the link tree. People find it in the link tree. Just
Okay.
look at for Yinnergy Gumroad. Uh Look for that. You go into that and you'll be able to people can purchase it. There are different levels of Yinnergy, because the reason why there are different levels is because um lower carrier frequencies have higher amplitude and they affect the brain and the nervous system differently. So I couldn't give someone a lower carrier frequency on a brain that hasn't been and a nervous system that hasn't been fully refined. So we do this over
Okay.
time. So if someone went through the beginning to the end of the program, it'll probably take them to like a minimum of 13 years to do that. It takes a long time to do that. No one other than myself has finished the whole entire program. A
Okay.
lot of people stop at level 2, level 3. Some people move further. Just like with stages of the development, there's
Hmm.
less people at the top, more people at the bottom.
Yeah,
Same thing
yeah,
with this program. A lot of
yeah.
people will stop at level 1, level 2, level 3. Very few will keep going on, but no one other than myself has reached level 13. But someone
Okay.
will. People right now are that's their aim. But of course, it takes them for 13 years to do that. They've probably
Yeah,
been at it for 6 years. Uh,
yeah.
so so that's what Yinnergy is designed to help people to refine their brain and their nervous system and to get the two hemispheres of the brain to synchronize. So the reason why people have deep sense of meditation, my theory is that it's because of the synchronization of the two hemispheres of the brain. The
Hmm.
reason why people who are considered gifted and geniuses is because they have better balance of the two hemispheres than the average person. Most people are imbalanced. They're more balanced. They're more dominant in one side over
Hmm.
the other. People
Hmm.
who are considered geniuses have a better sense of synchronization between the two hemispheres, and
Yeah.
also too the synchronization between the front and the back part of the brain as well.
Hmm.
So it's the left and right, back and front. And if you learn how to balance that, that can lead to deeper states of meditation. That can lead
Hmm.
to better access to having spiritual experiences. That can lead to emotional development, mental development. That can also lead to balancing out the ego. That could
Hmm.
also lead to um, tranquility, peace of mind, all of that.
Hmm.
Not making much of a preference between black and white. You'll still make preferences, but you can accept black and white. And when I say black and white, I just mean the oppositions, the oppositions between the two sides. If
Yes,
it's black and
yes.
white, male and female, masculine and feminine, um, religion versus non-religion, doesn't matter. By
Mm.
learning how to synchronize the two hemispheres of the brain, you can get to a level where you're much more at peace. There's much more tranquility in the way how you look at life and how you look at things in general.
Yeah, I love that because I part of what I wanted to ask you is like what is one practice or one way that you would like that you would suggest to someone to like help to have more peace in their life, and you literally you literally just mentioned the like one of the benefits, right?
Yeah.
I'm going to definitely listen and feel and look for changes within myself, because I told you like on our last episode about the I know the importance of brain health and the balancing of hemispheres and all that stuff. So
Hmm.
um so yeah, so definitely anything that helps the brain, I think it's positive, it's good. So I'll definitely try that out. And I will let my subscribers know, you know, how it is, how it's been for me. And I already know that it would be, I'm not someone who just tries anything. So the fact that I have that, I feel that okay in my spirit, I already know it's gonna be a good thing. It's gonna be
Make that
positive.
report. Make that report after 6 months, though. Takes a while.
Yeah,
Yeah,
6 months.
after
Well,
6 month period,
yeah.
you can give a proper assessment on what's happening because this stuff takes a while. It's not a magic pill. It takes a while to get the
So how
brain
does
and the
it,
nervous
so
system to adjust
how
itself.
does it when you're saying it takes a while, um do you see that some people have results faster than others, or what would cause somebody to,
In general,
yeah, what would cause
yeah.
someone to see results quicker than another person?
Genetics.
Mm,
Some people are higher on the spiritual evolution process than other people. People's nervous systems are different. People's brains are different.
mm-hmm.
Um, in this case, there's no way for me to know each person's specific brain patterns and stuff like that. So this is generally made so for the average person to get benefits. So we know that from within a time period, it takes the average person about 6 months
Okay.
to make. You don't make those huge adjustments at the end of 6 months. They happen gradually, but you probably will
Gradually.
notice those differences
Yeah.
around the 6 month period
Mhm. Yeah.
before someone move on to a deeper level. So ever after they finish 6 months and they've made all the changes within the brain and the nervous system, they
Mhm.
have the choice to move on to the next level, which has a deeper carrier frequency, which makes the technology even stronger. So when people start off at the energy purge is stronger than the average brainwave entrainment program, but it's light in comparison to what I could actually give you.
Next, yeah, yeah.
So yeah,
Okay.
so I don't give people level 13 because if I gave
Yeah.
the people level 13, they may end up having a Kundalini syndrome.
One.
Right, that could happen, right? And you don't want that.
Yeah.
Even though Kundalini syndrome is part of the journey, you don't want
Yeah.
to have a Kundalini syndrome
Not.
that's
Yeah.
so
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
where it pretty much can destroy you. You don't
Yeah.
want that, so you do it gradually. So it's a gradual thing where changes will happen gradually. A lot of things you may not even notice, and other things will be huge, and you're like, "Oh
Mm-hmm.
my gosh, I didn't see that one coming." But it's a
Mm-hmm.
gradual process that people go through, and if
Mm-hmm.
they once they finish 6 months of it, if they want to go deeper, they have the option to order the next level. But each level is designed within itself. No one has to move on to another level if they don't want to. But if people want to go deeper and to see where this can lead, because I'm vouching that this thing can lead to extraordinary things that will happen in your life. And people are reporting this around the world of things that's happened to them. And they didn't even go through the 6 months yet. That happened a lot sooner. But you don't hear that all the time from most people. That's why I wrote the book, Bodhi in the
Yeah.
Brain. Bodhi in the Brain is about, see if I can get this in properly. I have my everything on blur, but if you see that, that's Bodhi in the Brain. And it's a book
If
about
you send me
explaining.
a, if you send me sorry, if you send me a picture of it, Morgan, like an actual picture of it, I'll incorporate it into this um into your thumbnail. If you send me a picture of it, Bodhi in the
Yeah, I
brain.
could do that. I could do that.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that book explains what energy is, how it works, the benefits it has, what people have reported long term, what it's done for me personally, and so on and so on and so on. So that's what Bodhi in the Brain is about. At some point, I'm going to do a second edition of Bodhi in the Brain, where I'm actually going to include my personal brainwaves, the
Oh,
information, the
nice.
measurements that I've gathered throughout the months. I've been doing brain studies with another organization, and I've been doing my own, and I've gathered a lot of that information as well. So when I do a second edition of Bodhi in the Brain, I'm going to include that in the book as well, and all
Perfect.
that.
That's good. I love that. Okay. So the last time you were on, I ended with a question asking you about what, what would love say through you right now, to anybody who was watching. And I'm gonna ask the same question, but a little bit differently. I'm gonna ask you right now in this moment, because we've been talking about God and God being everything and all of that and the whole experience, right? I'm gonna ask you from your from your awareness as most high, right? From that point of awareness as most high and to your awareness as yourself being the individual person. If there's something that you feel that most high has been saying to you, maybe asking you to do more of, or do less of, or to start or to stop. What I'm asking you, and it's a personal question, what is the message you think, you feel, or you know that you've been getting from Most High in this season of your life?
I couldn't answer that question, so I never received messages from the Most High.
What is that? What is that? Well, what is it? Okay, I'm using the word message, and again, that's a language. That's a
I
language
see.
thing.
I hear you.
Yeah, that's a language thing. But let's say not necessarily message like you got a like you heard a voice or whatever the case is, but sometimes it could be simple like you feel like maybe like the universe is giving you a sign, or I don't know, there's so many different ways to say it. But in this moment in your life, what do you feel like you're being led to, guided to? What do you feel if you could you see certain doors are closing or certain doors are opening? I'm saying like in this season of your life, what if you could title this season something, this moment of your life right now, if you could title it something, what would you title it? Like, what do you think this moment about is about for you right now?
To express whatever it is on my mind in the moment. Yeah, I don't have. It's weird when I say this, and it's a contradiction as I say it. I don't have any actual desires anymore.
Mm-hmm.
But as I said that, I'm contradicting what I just put out there. Um, I do desire that when I wake up every morning that I'm in good health. I do desire those things. But at the same time, if someone asks me,
Yes.
"What's your goal?" I don't have any real goals. I just do
Mm-hmm.
whatever I feel that in the moment. There's days where I don't feel like writing a blog post too.
Mm-hmm.
So there's days where
Yeah.
I may not want to. Someone may ask me a question about Yinnergy, and I may take 2 days to answer them because in the moment I'm just
Mm-hmm.
not there. I don't feel like
Yeah.
doing it in that
Fact.
moment.
Yep.
Um, and the list goes on. The list goes on of things. I want the best for
Mm-hmm.
everyone. That's true, but I'm not attached to any of those things. I have
Understood.
desires, but the better way of saying it, I don't have attachment to any desire. I just
Understood.
do whatever I feel
Yeah.
in the moment. Yeah. And if that thing helps another person, it helps another person. If it doesn't, it doesn't. But I don't
Yeah.
necessarily have a desire to change anything. Yet at the same time, well, I should say I don't have the attachment to that desire to change anything.
Attachment.
But there are things, of
Okay.
course, I think I would
Attachment.
change. Yeah, but that's not the first thing on my
Yes.
mind. First thing on my mind is
Yeah.
I'm going to express whatever it is I'm expressing. Because
Okay.
my main goal, like you can say, this is an actual desire. I want to express what happened to me and what is still happening to me since December 14th of 2019. So I've made it my
Mm-hmm.
life's mission to try to see if I can express that, even though I know that I can't. But I do it anyway because
Yeah.
I get complete joy in doing that, even though I know I'll never be able to
Yes.
express it. I love doing that. But do I
Yes.
actually have a desire to? Things happen the way they happen. I've had that strong realization. Things happen as they do.
Yeah.
And whatever I can do in the moment to help someone, I'll do that in the moment. But I don't have this thing where I receive messages. I don't have a thing where I get signs from the universe.
Mm-hmm.
I don't even see any of that. Um, I am that very sign of the universe.
Yeah.
What
Yes.
I'm
I
looking
totally
at right now
agree.
is the sign of the universe. Yeah, I can't, I don't really see it that way.
Yeah. And that
Yeah,
is, and that's definitely I get it because I get it. You know what I mean? Like I get it because I get it. Yeah. And I do think it really is a language thing. You know what I'm saying? Like
yeah,
uh some people some people well it just really is a language thing. Because if you said it any other way, like if I had to ask that question, let's say if we weren't talking on here with a multitude of different levels of consciousness, listening, I would probably ask you that question differently. But if I asked it to you that way on here, the majority of people wouldn't understand what I asked you.
Mm-hmm.
And they wouldn't understand what you were answering in order to make it relevant in their life. Right? So that's the beauty of language in helping, but then also kind of the the I don't know what to call it, right?
Yeah.
The
And I think it's okay if it's not helpful for someone in their life in the moment.
and it's yeah, that's true.
Yeah, I just
That's,
yeah.
yeah,
Some
yeah.
things some things I got back when I was in the TV industry. Chaos, the rapper Chaos, the Canadian rapper Chaos. He
Mhm.
used to talk about Krishnamurti all the time. I had no idea what he was talking about back then. All I know that it had an effect on me later on in the future. It had an effect on me then. I just didn't know it at the time. But later on, later on, I started on my personal quest, on my personal journey, and Krishnamurti came back up. I was like, oh my gosh, Chaos used to talk about this guy all the time, which made me
Yeah,
want to listen to
wow.
Krishnamurti, right? But
Yeah,
back then, I had no idea what he was talking about. So
yeah,
what I do is I just put it out there. And if it
yeah,
doesn't land with you today, that it didn't land with you today. Maybe it will next year. Maybe it will 10 years from now, 20 years from now.
you never
Maybe it never will.
yeah,
All right.
facts.
All I'm doing is making my contribution.
Yeah, yeah, facts.
Yeah, because it's beneficial to someone, or maybe it's beneficial to no one in the group. Who knows? But later on in the future, someone will bring up a similar idea, and they may make the connection. Say, "Oh gosh, that old guy, he mentioned something like that 20 years ago.
Yeah,
Oh my
it's like
God!" And they make that connection,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
Because for me, that's what Chaos did. Chaos will never know this. I've never met Chaos in person. We know a lot of the same people, but I've never met him in person.
Mhm.
But if he's out there listening, I want him to know that because he brought up Krishnamurti back 25 years ago, that made a difference in my life later on in the future. So you never know where something will land. Just put it out there, just say it. You never know what it will do, whether a person understands it today
Yeah,
or tomorrow.
yeah. I love that. I love that. That's extremely true. I've come to that realization also. And then there's still a part of me that will always seem to say, well, if you can say something in a language that the majority of people understand, then, choose to say it in the language that the majority understand. If you would like as many people to understand it, say it in a language that is common to most people. If you want only specific people to understand it, then speak the language that only those specific people speak. And so I'm aware of that. You know what I mean? So on
Mm-hmm.
on 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 like these type of podcasts and stuff like that, where I'm hoping to, obviously we're talking about love and everything, and I'm hoping I'm
You're
hoping
hoping.
I'm hoping I am
I
hoping,
don't give a shit.
literally, you're like, girl, I'm
I
just
really don't
answering.
care.
And do
Yeah, I
you know
really don't
what?
care. I just
And do
speak.
you know
Yeah.
what? That's exactly okay, because that's what I want from you.
Yeah.
I invite you on here to be Morgan, to express who you are, where you are, how you want to.
Yeah.
Um, and it's my job because I'm choosing for it to be my job. It's my job to take what you say, to ask in a way that helps the people understand what I'm asking. So when you
Hmm.
give an answer, they either get it or they don't. And if I can say back what you said or reflect it back through one of my own stories to help them grasp what the heck we're talking about, then I do that. You know? Then I do that.
This is why I have a small audience.
Yeah, I have a small audience too, in a sense, right? But it's
Yeah.
perfect because now, there's going to be a lot of people who I think, obviously, in my life, I realize whenever I make certain connections with people and I'm able to discuss certain things, I never think anything is by chance. I believe we're always sowing, whether it's gonna
Always.
grow, yeah, whether it's gonna grow this year, next year, whatever. So thank you so much for taking your time to sow all of these precious seeds with me, and to talk about some things that will at least let people reflect and research, or what I mean, whatever the case is,
Especially
just to
research. Yeah.
show, yeah,
Look into
research,
some of these
yeah,
things.
exactly, and just to show another perspective it's good for people to have choice and for them to see, oh, wow, I've never thought of that before, but it resonates with me. I'm going to look into it, or whatever the case is. So thank you for taking the time to do that with me. I really appreciate it. And I will always have an open invitation for you. Whenever you want to talk about something, you just hit me up and be like, yeah, and you have a free Sunday, I will make it happen. And I'm excited to listen to what you shared with me, that Yinnergy. I'll be getting in touch with you because I need to know if I'm on track, with it. And I'll definitely share my experience. You said give it 6 months. So I'll
Give us
definitely
some
share
time.
my experience. Yeah, give it some time. There's no rush. I'm here
Yeah.
forever. So
Unless something pops up and you're like, I have to talk about this, put it out there,
Mhm.
sure. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
But give it
yeah.
some time because it's different for different people.
Yeah, I know in my history, the things that I have done, it's always, you know, it's always a different experience from other people, which is why I was asking, like,
Yeah.
just, yeah, is what it is. I think the combination of certain things, and I also think doing the hypnosis and different things that I've done have, we talked about that, the whole brain. So it'll be interesting to see what happens, when I try your program. I love it. So okay, thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I know we have Dwayne and Marianne have stayed through. I see them commenting all these little comments, while we're talking. I love that, that they're in it too, but I haven't haven't been looking as much as I probably should have been. Oh, I see there's a question here. Took me a while to think of a question. Okay, why do you do what you do? What drives you to it? Okay, we will end with that question because he did ask a question I want to ask you. So, why do you do what you do? What drives you to do it?
What drives me to do it? I don't know if I can answer that. I just do it. I just had this. There's this thing that I have, it's probably unconscious, with that. It's just a burning. See, I'm going to say they use the word desire. It's a burning desire to just do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think about it. I don't question it. I don't second guess it. If I have a burning desire to do something, I'll just do it. It just so happens that the burning desire is to express what I believe is happening on an ultimate level, even though I can never express it. But that's my ultimate desire, is to express that. I
Mm.
want everyone to know. What they want to do with it is what they do with it. But I want everyone to know that it's out there because no one has told me about this until I was in my 30s. I didn't know this thing existed.
Mm-hmm.
But certain people came in my space and said, "Hey, there's something more happening in your reality that is beyond your comprehension. You probably want to explore this." I explored it. I can vouch that it's true, and I'm just putting that forward. I'm putting it out there to anyone who wants to listen, anyone who wants to grasp into this information. It's there, and anyone can do it. It just takes time, effort, and you have to have the right intentions, I guess. Even though on the higher level, you have no, it's not you that's doing it. The meditation doesn't lead to that, but it's the story. So whatever that, if it's meant for you, you'll just know if it's meant for you. When I
Mm-hmm.
first heard about it, I was already meditating a number of years before I even heard it for the first time. But
Mm-hmm.
when I heard it, it just resonated with me, and I just said, whatever that thing is, I want it, and I just started reading Osho and listening to watching Osho videos, and I said, whatever he's talking about, I want that very thing.
Yeah.
And then one day it happened, and it kept it led in a whole process. It got deeper and deeper. It became more integrated. It became more whole. It became more everything. And there was a lot of um, pitfalls along the way. But if I had to do this thing all over again, this thing was so magnificent that if I had to do it over again with all the pain and the suffering I had to go through to get there, I would do it all again exactly in the same order. That's
Wow.
how magnificent this experience was, and the effect that it still has on my life today. I would do everything exactly the same way all over again.
Yeah.
All the kidney pains and all this shit that I had to go through, I'd do it all over again. That's how huge this thing is. I
Yeah.
have no regrets of what took place, and that's why I do it.
Yeah. I love
That's the
that.
thing that moves me at my core.
I love that. As you started talking, a scripture jumped in my head. And I said, oh my gosh, let me just go to, because it's come up a few times in our talk. And I guess I will end with this. It's from Philippians. It's from
Mm.
Philippians 2:13. Um, and you know, the amount of scriptures that are always popping in my head, someone's gonna think I'm like reading the Bible every day. I'm not. This is like from way years ago that I had the Bible probably memorized at one point. Maybe 2 points. And that's crazy. But that's how it is with me. If I'm into something, I just learn
You're
it
in it.
back. And
Yeah.
so even though I even though I don't read it anymore unless a scripture comes to my mind, I'll like check it out. After that, I would say after that NDE, man, they be popping in my mind all the time, but like in different ways, like for things that I wouldn't have, you know, connected them with before. So as you were speaking, this came to me. It's from Philippians 2:13. It says, "For it is God who works in you to will and to act in order to fulfill his good purpose." Another way it's said like this, because we mentioned desire. For God is working in you, giving you the desire and the power to do what pleases God. So I just thought it was so cool because the whole time we've been saying like this is God is just working through this. God is God is doing this, God is doing that. And then when Dwayne asked about what gives you the desire, and you're like, I don't know, there's just something in me. I'm like, it is God. And it's actually there. It's not just me saying it, right? Someone thought of this at some point.
Thousands
And
of years ago.
right, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So
It
wonderful.
resonates with people now. Yeah.
Exactly. Yes. So, brother, thank you so much. And to everybody watching, thank you very much. If you have any questions for Morgan, feel free to leave them under this video. I'm sure he'll pop in and answer your questions. You can also connect with him in the description. I'll put his link tree, and also I think you have a link to your book there. You have a link to everything through your link tree.
Yeah,
So
everything's in the link
yeah.
tree. My nonprofit organization, if anyone wants to donate to my nonprofit,
Mhm.
is in there too, which is Bodhi, um, Bodhi Mental, Bodhi. Oh, my own Bodhi Mental Care and Wellness.
Yes.
That's it's all there. Yinnergy is there. Bodhi in the Brain is there. All my past interviews is there. These interviews are there.
Mhm.
Yeah, my articles, my magazine features. I featured in, gosh, I don't even know how many magazine articles now. They're all there. Most of them should be there anyway. They're all there. So if you want read extra stuff that I've been involved in, they're all there. It goes beyond this conversation. I've been at
Good.
this for a very long time. So I've been at this for like 20 over 22 years now.
Wow.
So what you see there is probably just only the last 5 years of
Yeah,
information.
scratching the surface.
Yeah.
Yeah, wonderful, wonderful. So, thank you to everyone for watching. Thank you for liking, sharing, commenting, subscribing, all the good stuff. See you again next Sunday for another episode of Love Story at 7:30. And if you do want to be a part of Love Story, you want to share your story, talk about all the ways that love has helped you and rescued you out of darkness and whatever else you would like to share, please send me an email at lovestoryforyandea@gmail.com. Okay. Good night. Bye bye.